And we are live. Hey, it's me, Mojo Blues, and the Gaming Werewolf here for another. I actually, when I tweeted out about it, I actually put the name of the real name of the podcast, and I think that's Everything But the Kitchen Sink podcast.
Now, wait a minute. I want to talk about the kitchen sink because the kitchen sink is really important.
Yeah, actually, I got one of those pure things that you hook on the end of your sink thing for the water.
Oh yeah, I actually have one of those.
And I've had it forever. The last place I lived at, it wouldn't fit on my sink. So I just throwed it under the sink and kept it. Many years later, I finally moved. And then when I got moved into here, that was one of the first things I did was like, oh yeah, I got this thing, and slap that puppy on. And
yeah. No, I use it all the time. I had to only replace it once because the other one started to leak. Oh man, I've had this one for about 3 years, and the other one I had over 7 years. So I love it.
Yeah,
Works for me.
I've lived overseas where even with those kind of filters on the sink, you still couldn't drink the water. But I would order bottled water to deliver to my apartment. And actually, I've still got one of those water tank things where you put the big water glass or plastic jug goes on top of it, and then it'll do hot or cold water. I don't know what you call those. That's embarrassing.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah,
I don't have that. I just have the cold water one. But
here at Walmart, you can buy. I don't use that here because you got to pay for the water and drag those big giant things to put on it, and the water's fine here, so I don't need. I use like a little water filter though. And even at the other place, I had a pitcher that my oldest son bought me, and I think it might be made by Pure also. I'm not even sure, but it
Pure Brita, one of the two. I know exactly.
It's Brita. You're right. When you said Brita, that's Pure is the one I got on the sink, but Brita,
same.
When you pour it in, and then it filters it, and then fills up your jug, and then you got filtered water. All right, that's enough about the kitchen sink.
All right, we got the kitchen sink covered. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty funny because right before we went live, I was thinking about it. What's important and what's not important. It's really seemed important to me a couple of weeks ago, and then we didn't do a show last week, so we never got to talk about it. So, and in the big scheme of things, it's really not important. But it was the whole not being RDNA and not having 3.0 features and not even really being 2.0.
On the PS5?
Yeah, it's more than one. It's the RDNA 1 with RDNA 2 features is what it really is. And somehow somebody knew that, but Sony wasn't talking. And so the rumor gets put out there that it's fully RDNA 2 and it also has RDNA 3 features. Yeah,
I knew that wasn't. Yeah, I knew that wasn't the case when Microsoft released the press, and AMD also released the press saying how it's full. The Xbox Series X and Series S is the full RDNA 2 profile. That wouldn't have passed two major companies' marketing teams had it not been true. Mm-hmm. So right there it tells you that whatever's in the PS5 is not the full RDNA 2. So I knew that from even before the PS5 came out. I look at it this way. Okay, I know people are upset about that. I don't care because I look at real world examples, and right now the PS5 is fine. For what it is. There's no denying that the Series X is better. I'm not even gonna go there, but as a console, forget the large. I agree, it's gaudy and too big. But
I consider it the ugliest console in the history of consoles. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's a badge of honor to have a big, really big, ugly console.
And really, it stands out. It's because it is.
Well, it's because a 7-year-old freaking designed it. Come on, they had to. That's the console that when I was 7 years old, I would have designed. That's what I would have wanted.
It's like with the little sleeves.
And
it's too cool for the room, yo.
It was designed by a bunch of 7-year-olds. I don't know how. Maybe the internals were designed by somebody smart, but yeah, I think the aesthetic part of it was That
Yeah. But anyway, that being said,
yeah.
real world as a game system and what I've been playing on it so far, both backward compatible and from the newer stuff, I, I have no problem with it. It is head and shoulders above the PS4, and that to me is all I wanted as a gamer.
Oh,
And
here's the thing that you have to always keep in mind. They both have the same CPU. Okay, so they're basically the
yeah,
same machine. So Microsoft waited an extra, I don't know how many months it was, because Sony was. It's pretty evident they were trying to get this thing out fall of 2019, and for whatever reason, Sony wasn't able to. But I think that was the original date. Microsoft had always planned on 2020, and we're a little bit later. They say stuff about, well, we waited. No, they didn't wait. They were always, that was their projection. They always had it planned to come out. So I don't even want to hear that crap. You're lying.
yeah,
Stop it. You were planning on releasing the console in fall of 2020. Sony was planning on 2019. Something happened, and we know what it was. It was because, and it doesn't make the console bad. It was their system on the chips, whatever, at the factory level. It's not inside of a machine yet. They were getting too many bad ones, and so when you get a bad one, that just gets thrown away. It doesn't ever get put into a machine or anything.
right.
And so it delayed them, and then and at some point they finally just said we got to come out in 2020. But it gave them a jump on Microsoft, so they got their tools or whatever you want to call it out early. So developers, they did get a jump on Microsoft there, so they were a little bit ready at the beginning of the thing. But my big thing is they're basically the same. Microsoft's just basically by them we're shooting for 2020. They got true RDNA 2.
Yeah.
And how much better is that over RDNA 1 with RDNA 2 features? I mean,
We won't know yet. We won't know until a good year or two in.
It's already showing just at a hardware level. It's slightly better, not much.
Oh yeah, I
There
mean,
was a couple games that even come out worse that had to be patched to get better on the Xbox.
yeah.
Those first 2 or 3 games that come out, most of them has actually been repatched now. They look better on the Series X, but so it's supposedly 30%. If all things are done equal, it's 30% more powerful. Well, yeah, but that sounds like a lot, but
It's really not.
it's not nothing
Honestly,
because the Xbox One X was 40% more powerful than the Pro. And I'm telling you, I had both, and I had many of the same games for both because I'm an idiot and I'll do that sometimes. I just wanted to see. And yeah, a lot of times the One X was better, but could you really tell the difference?
unless you're Digital
To be
Foundry,
honest,
likely no.
yeah, I had to put my hand on the Bible and I'm in the courtroom. No, I can't tell the difference. My God, going back to the day one OG big ugly Xbox One, which I actually have one of those,
So do I. I still have
and
it.
and
It's in
Punch
my
the
bedroom.
Tank, I love it. I still have it because I can have a connect to it.
Well, I told you I have the white one. From the Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm not giving that up.
Yeah, but anyway, when those games were 720p or 600p or 900, whatever they were, and then the version was 1080 on the PS4, I couldn't tell the difference then.
No, he can't.
Maybe there's something wrong with me, and I'm old, and I just when I look
I,
at and I watched all that Digital Foundry crap,
and I'll
and
be honest.
they'll
I'm
point
right there
things,
with you.
and,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh crap.
No, I'm right.
What's really bad is I'm trying to figure out which one looks the best, and I almost always pick the wrong one, and then it's like, oh, this one has 8 more frames, or blah blah blah, or this one
I
has.
know.
So
No, I'm right there with you.
I was messing with Mads Gaming, which I do a show with the other day, and because I was giving him shit about or the something just got released that's on the X. It's native 4K 60. The PS5 just said 4K 60. If you look deep enough, it's not 4K. It's 1440 or 18. I don't know what P it is, but it's something, and it just gets upscaled to 4K.
Right.
Then they mislabeled the Xbox Series S version as being 1080p 30 frames, when in reality it was actually just like the PlayStation 5. It was upscaled all the way to 4K. So it really was, technically it's 4K and 60 frames. Of course, that's a big jump from 1080p to 4K.
Yeah.
That you probably can really tell the difference. If you had two identical TVs and a Xbox Series S and a PS5 on each,
Oh, I could do one better.
I could probably tell the difference of that.
If you want to see the difference, I know it's an older game, but Rise of the Tomb Raider lets you change the resolutions on the fly on the Xbox One X. So, of course, this 4K version is, of course, 30 frames a second, and if you want the 60, it dumbs it down. I shouldn't say dumbs it, but it lowers it to 1080p. So you can switch between the two on the fly in the menu, which is awesome. Not too many games let you do that. And yeah, you can definitely, when it's 4 times the resolution,
Yeah,
you'll visually see it. But from like for the newer games, for 1440p, especially if they use the temporal upscaling versus just a standard checkerboard, you cannot really tell. I mean, you can see a
yeah.
little clarity if you look at it. Who the hell sits, unless you're on a PC, but that's a whole different. I'm not even going to go into that. On a
Well, even
television,
even at that,
unless
for years, I've been bitching at PC guys bragging about this or that, and I'm like, you're not even fucking 4K. Shut up, shut up. All right, you're on a 1440 monitor.
that's
Shut up.
2K. Yeah, that's not
I got a
4K.
4K television. I'm living the high life. I don't give a shit about the frames, so just shut up. And of course, I understand that at 1440 at 3 feet away, you can't tell the difference between 4K and that. And those monitors have better response time and all that other stuff. But even now, they're getting ripped off because now those same monitors are starting to come out in 4K. And holy crap, they were expensive when they were just 1440p. Now they're way more expensive. People are paying for it, and yet they didn't need to be 4K. They don't. The human eye cannot tell the difference. You should have just stayed with the 1440p. You didn't need a 4K monitor. You sat 3 feet away, for God's sakes. It's
But PC has to have everything. Anti-aliasing, ray tracing, 60 frames,
well, they've had
8K.
everything better except for the monitors. How television, and it used to be PC monitors were the better ones. But in the golden age of tubes, generally PC monitors had different resolutions and they just were better. But no, not when they went to these modern things. The PC monitor got
LCDs. Yeah.
yeah, PC monitors got shit on, and they
Well, not for nothing, but they're cut from the same cloth. That's what people
yeah.
don't realize. I mean, it's the same. It's the same plate. Just different sizes. I mean, the
Whatever
PC
reason,
might have a little bit of
40,
extra clarity thrown in, but that's about it.
45, I think, is the magic number with LCD, where they decided that anything below that did not need to be 4K. Or actually, even before 4K, let's go back to HD. Anything below 32-inch, 32 and below, did
Can be
not need to be.
720p. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't need to be. Even if it was like 500 or 600p, it didn't matter. The human eye couldn't tell the difference. But when you got bigger, if you were setting too close, that's where you could tell stuff. So they had to up the reses on them. And
Yeah.
it's still that way to this day. I mean, they trust me, you can get away with a 70-inch 4K set and set crazy close to it. It's amazing. But when you blow it up just 15 inches, they got those 85 sets out. And I look at them all the time because I want one desperately. But I can see the difference. You blow it up that extra 2 feet, all the way around. And
At
there's
that
something
point,
happens, and you have to set a little further back. And that's all. You can't, but I guess that's where we're going to need 8K. If you want to set that down close, you're going to need 8K. And then you can have a whole wall blown up as a television, and you're good to go, I guess.
yeah, there's actually in Best Buy. I was actually in Best Buy last week, and there's an 8K display in one of the Best Buys, and of course, they're doing the whole demo. This is what
Oh yeah,
1080p looks like. This is what 4K looks like, and here's 8K, yay! And okay, yeah, and it was one of those like 80 something. I mean, it wasn't a small TV. It was just massive. I mean, it was like a movie theater. Well, it in perspective, of course, wasn't 40 feet, but you know what I mean. But it was like 80 something or 85 inches, and you're right. If especially if you look at it, as I were going through the different resolutions, I'm like, okay, I can see the difference between the three main resolutions,
yeah,
1080p. 1080p on that screen would definitely be like, okay, it's kind of like 640, like the old standard definition, like
right.
720p, not 720p, 640p, um, uh, on a like a 50-inch. You can definitely see it there. So it was like kind of like that, but 4K still looked
Yeah,
great on it. 8K, of course, looked almost like a picture, at least on
oh
that one, because it was like QLED or something.
yeah.
And so did the price. I mean, the price was like 4 grand or 5 grand. I'm like, yeah, no, not right
No, I
now.
think it's not been a full 2 years, but a year and a
You-
half,
most
whatever it was.
broadcasts, most broadcasts are still broadcasting in 1080i, not even
Yeah,
1080p, let alone 4K or 8K. So yeah, we're ways off from that. So I'm not even worried about 8K.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16 months ago, I was in Germany. And in the base exchange at a military base there, because my son's in the Air Force, I was looking at the televisions, and they had an 8K set that was like cheap. It was under three, above two. I can't remember the exact price now. Now, it wasn't as big. I think it was just a 50-inch. But still, it was like 8K at that price. Holy crap. I wanted to buy it, but then I had
That
no
is
way of
good.
getting it back. And I even thought about trying to buy it and have make the BX ship it from that BX to another one in the States. But this seemed too complicated, and I didn't really have the money. And thank goodness I didn't do that, because right after I got back's when I got sick and had the heart failure. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's been a rough year and it's been wasted. But now, back before this past Christmas a few months ago, I started looking at these 85-inch ones. They're silver. Sony has a nice one, and of course LG, and I can't remember the other models, but there's several of them out there. If you go to your, not so much Walmart, but if you go to Sam's Club and
BJ's and
yeah,
Costco and
there's
yeah, yeah.
lots of them where you see, what I'm talking about. They're there,
Yep.
85-inch, and they're 4K, and they look great. And I mean, they're not the high end sets, like some people joke about, whether you get them from the back or they're out on the floor. But I love big. I like movie theater big, and to me, that's more important than the gaming delay and stuff like that. Because I'm not gaming on that size television anyway. I've got my 4K set that I actually game on, and it's curved, and that didn't help it any. But I love it. But it's for a certain kind of watching, and it's been worth every penny I paid for it. It's a Sammy, but it's not 85-inch, and I've got a 70 1080p set in the living room that has some issues, and I'm kind of enjoying the fact that it has issues, because I keep going. I'm going to have to replace it. I'm going to have to replace it, and even if I don't have the money, I can. And with my limited fixed income, I can still. Yeah, I've got like a card from a couple of different places that have credit on it that's just for that place. Store card, what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. I'm not talking about using a regular Visa or MasterCard, but anyway, I can go buy one, and my retirement money's more than enough to cover the payment. So I'm thinking, but then again, I know about some really incredible sets that are coming this year. They get better every year.
Oh
I hate
yeah.
that they do that to you, but
It's like
they're
phones.
but this isn't. If you looked between 2020 and 2019, there wasn't a big jump. In fact, there was a downturn. What happened is from middle of 2018, when sets generally start dropping, the 2019s, 2020s were actually a little bit worse, because they all knew there was something coming, and so only their highest of the high end sets had any new features. The lower tiered sets were actually not as good, so they could keep their price per whatever um, so they can make more money off of each set on how they sell them. They were just basically you got no new features is what I'm getting at, unless you were buying only the uppermost, best sets. The
Right.
discount type models were not any better. And in some cases, they were actually worse. They had actually had some features dropped off, and that's not just coming from me. That's coming from that Vince. I don't know what's his name, Vincent Pill. I can't even say his name.
That's fine.
He's an Asian gentleman that does a wonderful television comparison show on YouTube, and wow, he's really good. The stuff he does, he breaks it all down. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait, and even though I really wanted to get it before this past Christmas, but I just thought, once I'd read and knew about some stuff coming, and even if I end up with the same set that was, a 2020 set that I buy in 2021, I might get that even cheaper. Who knows?
True.
Depending on how good the new stuff is, it's supposed to be coming. Because I'm not going to buy no top of the line. I just want a really good set for movies for the living room that's really big. And then,
Well, you don't have to worry about 120 hertz then. If you're just doing movies.
Yeah, exactly. If it just says 60 hertz, I'm fine with that.
Mine, okay, so mine, it's not really 120, but it does 120 refresh, but it's not for,
same
not for
thing.
games.
The one I got in here, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to go look at the box, but I'm pretty sure it's just, it says 120, but it's really just 60.
It's for that stupid demotion thing that fills in frames. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'd turn that shit off.
So do I.
So, and I don't mind. This 4K set, it's so beautiful. But at the same time, I go in the living room almost every night now at some point, and I throw something on. And I watch it on that 70 inch because I just like big, and I like setting a little further back sometimes. Just my little gaming area in here. I'm literally maybe 5 feet from that 50-inch 4K monitor, and it's about the right distance for it. It's beautiful and all that, but sometimes I like to stretch out on the couch and lay in the living room, or if I could do a sound system in here. I've got some, but I don't want to. I just got a sound bar hooked up to this TV, and I kind of don't mind that. But in the living room, I've got a high-end receiver and all the speakers and all that stuff. So, and although I have a spare receiver that's THX certified, 720 watts across 7 channels.
Nice.
Got some their Energy is the name of the speakers. Canadian company, and just awesome equipment. And I think Clips bought them out, so I don't even know if they sell stuff under the Energy name now, but really nice. They're piano black, tiny little speakers and a matching center channel. And I bought 2 sets of them so I could get a full 7.1 setup with them. But I'm not even using them right now. And I probably need to hook all that up, but I've just been lazy. That's all. That's a lot of speaker wire too.
I just have an older 5.1, but it works for me. I mean, it's perfectly fine. And even like with some of the even though I don't have, it's not Dolby Atmos, obviously.
I'm not worried about Atmos.
But
don't
the
believe
Atmos,
in that.
But still, like the encoding and all that, it still throws out the sound enough for it. I'm like, oh, this sounds good. I mean, I'm good. I'm sure that if I heard a real Atmos, I'd be like, oh my god, and blown away. Yeah, that's
I've heard real Atmos. I've got Atmos in headphones, and I've actually heard a not just 9, an 11.2 Atmos.
Wow.
That dual subwoofers, and it had 11 speakers in it, and they were all about, I think it was like 180 or 100 watts a channel for each speaker. It was $1,500 receiver. And you know what? And the best Atmos soundtracks. Nah, come on. You don't need sound coming from above you, coming off the ceiling. I'm sorry. And that's not new, by the way. Yamaha's been pushing height channels in their surround setups for years and years.
Oh, I know.
That's all the Atmos channel is a height channel, by the way. But how do you get height? Well, we'll put the speakers in the ceiling, and now in a gigantic mausoleum theater, it makes sense to have that, to get that when you're 50 rows back and to hear stuff above you. It's pretty cool. But in the home setting, it's Yeah, unless you're even
What
if you've
they
got a dedicated room that's set up like a theater, I don't know that you get that.
Yeah, I think what I heard too, and someone correct me on this if I'm not, if I'm wrong, but from what I understand is the way it works, or the way you can make it work, if you don't want to mount them on your ceiling, obviously you can aim them upward
Yeah,
so
that's
the
all you gotta do.
sound bounces. So
Almost everybody actually sells front channels now and rear ones that has a speaker on top of it, built
yeah,
in at an angle, and not straight up, but at an angle, so it shoots up and comes back down to your seating area. Uh, and that's why I got all these extra cubes from Energy. I could actually do that. Although I'd only have two. I wouldn't have four, which is fine. Again, Atmos is not that big a deal. But here's where it is a big deal. When they do the Atmos soundtrack, that's where they put the most emphasis, and you
mm,
get the highest quality of the recording or whatever. I don't know how to say it, but it's their number one priority, and then everything's a step down from there. Your normal 7.1 or 5.1 or whatever. It's yeah. So but I just don't know that I'm ever gonna feel the need to do that. I might. Just depends.
I would have to move because there's no point. I'm in an apartment and
Yeah, I'm
there's
in an
no
apartment
way
too.
I'm gonna
Same way.
blow.
I don't. I
I'll
can't
get
use my
complaints
two
left, right, and
subs in the
center.
living room. I mean, it's 7:30. Yeah, I could throw a movie on and have the subs going right now, but I'm a pretty respectable neighbor, and I'm not going to bug my neighbors with
Yeah.
my dual 12-inch subwoofers in the living room. They're beasts.
Yeah, I
So
actually turned mine down just out of respect.
yeah, and
At least at night, like every now and then, like if I know no one's home downstairs, I'll actually, put them
now
on.
now
But
my sound bar has its own subwoofer, but I don't know how low that thing goes. It goes pretty low, but it doesn't go low compared to a home theater setup.
no,
It
no,
makes
it
the
never
sound
will.
bar sound great. It
They
gives
do.
it makes it
Yeah.
sound like there's deep bass in it when it's just. I think what it is just going down probably to about 50, which is what good speakers would do anyway without a subwoofer. But it makes that sound bar. It gives it some depth or oomph or whatever. So I've always been happy with that, and I have no problem at 1 in the morning. I keep the volume at a respectable level on my sound bar, so it's not going to bother anybody anyway. And that subs hook to it, and I don't adjust it.
You know what works great with
Great.
sound bars? Honestly, and I'm just the retro games. Seriously, it's like it gives them a good punch. Even the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. It's just like with the subwoofer and the sound bars. In my opinion, I'm like really impressed by it.
Now I have
I
a
mean,
Polk sound bar that's that's actually uh, labeled Xbox. They put it out when the OG Xbox One came out, and it's only got like three sound settings on it. It's got one for music, one for movies, and then one for video games. And so it's bigger than most sound bars. Trust me. It's all the information that comes with it says you don't really need a subwoofer, but here's a connection place. If you really, really want a subwoofer with it, you can hook a subwoofer up to it. But otherwise, it doesn't need it. It actually gets its low bass notes, and uh, it's pretty cool. I have it hooked to an old 720p TV. An old 720p TV that's rear projection type.
oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
no,
OG
actually,
ones.
it's not rear projection. It's DLP,
Okay.
and, which is still what movie theaters use to this day. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But the TV was just humongous, and it has a specialized stand that goes to it. But for some weird reason, that soundbar fits perfectly with it. I've never been able to make it work with any LCD or these 4K TVs I've had, because they're just too low to the this Polk thing was a beast. But yeah, it was released in conjunction with the Xbox One as part of a promotional thing, and I don't think they ever promoted selling them very heavily.
Yeah, I didn't know
Probably
about it myself.
online at Polk themselves, you could probably have bought them back in the day, but mostly they just gave them away. It was part of that, when they were giving away Xboxes through Pepsi.
Oh, that I remember.
You had the caps and all that, and
Never won one, but that's okay.
yeah, we're on the air, so I can't talk about that. Let's move on. But
Yeah, no
anyway,
worries.
it was a cool sound bar. Uh, I keep meaning to get like an 8-inch sub from Polk that's not too expensive to add to it, but I just never did. I don't watch that TV anymore. It's pretty sad. It's just in a spare bedroom. It's all hooked up on stuff. I just don't use it. I mean, yeah, it's 720p and it's DLP, so it's like technology that's seen better days. But
Still,
the original point was that whole RDNA 1.1 or 3 point and all that. Whatever. I had a lot of fun on Twitter for a couple of days though. I roasted some hardcore ponies and it was fun. And that one guy, I don't know his name, but he was a smug bastard that sat there and talking about how it was uh, RDNA 3, and that he knew for a fact. And I said I don't know his name, or I might, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But he was so sure that it was that he had me believing it, and I knew better. I knew it wasn't. I just knew. I remember reading and all the stuff AMD had said and everything from and I
it's no
knew
way.
it was
Yeah.
not that, but yet he had me convinced, and because he was a smug bastard, and man, he looked bad. I don't know if
Did
you've
he?
seen the video that I'm talking about, but
I haven't seen the video, but did he respond to it? Like, did he say anything? I'm just curious.
I think what he said was basically he was lied to by his
Uh huh.
someone, and yeah, he blamed somebody, and the guy he blamed they were blaming each other for a little bit, and then I think they both disappeared since then. But yeah, it was still pretty fun stuff. I enjoyed that. If you it was on a couple other podcasts here recently, I've talked about that. Sometimes I get stuff wrong, I really do. But here's the thing: I don't mind dying on that hill. If I believe something, I'm gonna wave that flag.
Yeah.
If I get incinerated, oh well, I'll raise my hand and say I was wrong. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. I got it wrong. But yeah, in some of these cases, though, these guys they were just lying. It bothered them that something was supposedly more powerful or whatever, and I don't know,
Uh,
just
yeah, I agree.
crazy.
I don't. When I got the PS5, I'm still gonna get an S Series X. I just have to pay my medical bills first. Um, as you know, I had eye surgery earlier
Oh yeah,
this month, but I and I'm doing good. I can actually see you across the room now. Hey,
yeah, excellent.
so it worked out. But of course, I have the bills are coming in, but that's
Oh
fine.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, once that's paid, then I'll focus on trying to get an X. But anyway, I didn't get the PS5 because I thought it was the most powerful. I just got it because for me, as an individual, no one else, I have enough of a PS4 library and enough of Sony, you know,
Well, you
back
have an Xbox
stuff.
One, right?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Well, then you're good right now. You're good for a while.
I know. I
You have
know.
Game Pass. You get to play every one of those games.
Yep.
I
I know.
can't go get anything for my Series X that you can't get. And if you have a One X, I'm
Which I
telling
do.
you, man, it ain't much. That One X is a beast. I loved it.
Oh, it is. So I
Sometimes I regret getting rid of it. I'm thinking I only did it because I got
I'm
probably
keeping
the
my
most money that I'll ever get for it, but I don't care about getting money for something. I had
yeah,
fun
no.
having that thing, and it was nice. It
I'm
was.
keeping my I have the Project Scorpio one.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too.
So
I cried the day I turned it in. It was
oh man.
I didn't want to, and I did anyway. And it was like and it's always, and it's not like I don't know better. Anytime I've had to get rid of a console, I've regretted it. Just keep it. Just keep it.
Yeah.
Save your pennies. Buy that next console later or whenever you can, but then just keep it. Throw it in the bottom of the closet because you'll have it, and you never know why. But sometimes it's just. I mean, when
Well,
I look over my Super Nintendo, God, I love that thing. I have an original equipment.
so
I'm
do
not
I.
talking about minis and Hypercons, this or that. And I have all that stuff too.
I have to try and get a picture of it because it's in storage. But I actually have the date stamp from Toys R Us when I bought my Super Nintendo. Kept the original box and it's stamped 8/91. Got
It's
the
kind of
original
funny.
day
I tell people,
one Nintendo, Super
I
Nintendo.
tell everybody, like the Saturn's my favorite console, and then the PC Engine maybe second. It's really close, but if you go to honesty, going back to not lying about stuff or exaggerating stuff, I shouldn't say lying, but
No, that's fine.
what have I over the years played the most? And if I'm going to play a retro game, what system do I play the most? And it always comes back to Super Nintendo for me.
Same here.
Even though I love the Genesis too, and the Genesis had an amazing library, I still play more Super Nintendo games. Holy crap. I just
Yeah,
do.
no, same here. I mean, I yeah, I agree. I actually got the well, I did it for the Genesis and the TurboGrafx or PC Engine, but I got the HDMI converter
Yeah,
cables,
there you go.
and yeah, it looks great. I mean,
I went the
um,
other way. I bought like the Hyperkin machines that let me play the cartridges. And
that's
then
good too. Hey, whatever works,
yeah,
you
and
know.
actually
I
those
mean,
aren't even HDMI. I've got now the minis that are HDMI for all those various
yep.
systems. The Hyperkin things I've got, and one's Hyperkin, one's some other brand I don't know, but it lets me play. One of them. Well, actually both let you play NES, Genesis, and Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I know. It's like the Redcon 4 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
yeah. One of them's just what you said is Retcon, and then the other one's Hyperkin. I have them both. I have those two, and I should buy Hyperkin. What's that one? It's got 5 or 6 systems that you play.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
They
can't
just
think
put
of
a
the.
new version of that. It's like a marine blue color. It's kind of nice looking. And even though apparently there's nothing new to it, they didn't make any improvements. But it's now re-released, and you can find them. And I didn't like it at the time because I knew of a similar product that you could buy out of Asia, particularly at playasia.com. Uh, not to promote their site, but you could order it. And I forget the name of it, but it did the same exact thing. It would let you put a Super Nintendo cartridge, a Sega Genesis. It played like 12 different systems or something. It would let you put all the things in, including some CD based ones. And it was just better than what the Hyper can,
Is that the Evercade?
Actually, it was before the Evercade. There's
Oh,
one.
okay.
It's actually just got a Japanese name to it. I can't give you the name, but it was pretty badass. And it might be an Evercade. I don't know. It's just I didn't even buy one of those because I knew that was kind of too expensive. I was like, well, God, that is so great. It gives you 720p out, but yet I get that on all these other things. Do I need the all in one? Is it worth it to me? And if it's $200, or actually these things were like 300, I think. The Asian one was a little over 300. Now the Hyperkin one's not. I think that one's like 150 or 160 or something like that. But even that, I thought that's too much because I already had the other things, and I've got the EverDrive, so I can play every game for all them systems, and so I just didn't buy one. So, but I'm big in retro, and I think that uh, yeah, this latest one that's back out on the market. I think I might buy one of those. It's not that expensive, and just to have another way of playing, the games I love.
Hey,
And to be
it's
honest,
exactly.
I've got not one, but I'm having to use 2 HDMI switchers because all them friggin' minis.
Yeah, I know.
It's getting
Same.
old. I'm like, I can't. It's too many. It's a mess. I'm not joking. And even make matters worse, I've got the Samsung televisions. It's got the little detachable box, or not detachable. It's always detached. Your input is not on the television. It's a box. So now I've got not one but 2 uh, HDMI switchers hooked to that thing, and then yeah, it's just too much, dude. Yeah, it's silly. There's like a triple train of boxes that come off of that, and it's like they fall off my stand, and every time I do anything,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I had the my TV in. Although I moved things around a bit, so it's not as bad now. But at its height, when I had everything connected to my main TV and my 4K television, um, I had three. Yeah, I have 4 inputs, 4 HDMI inputs, and 3 of them had switchers on them.
yeah,
3.
I know.
I was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. So
Even before the new 4K one, I had that same with just regular 1080p television, the big one in the living room, and that 720p one that's in my spare bedroom. I had multiple switchers to hook up old consoles, and even some of my tube TVs that I got now. I've got multiple switchers. I have two TVs, CRTs left, and both of those have three friggin' uh, S video and regular video switchers hooked up to them, and it's too much. Good God!
Yeah, it is. It really
But I
is.
don't want 8 CRTs. I got to find some of those smaller ones, the 12 to 19 inch that they used in television stations. I got to get some of those and set something up. I've been watching this one guy does his YouTube channel. Nobody watches it. He's kind of like mine and your channel. CRT Cade, he calls it. I don't know if you've seen his channel. He'll late at night at like 1 in the morning, he'll have all the lights off in the room, and so all the lights is just his CRTs, and they've just got consoles hooked up to them that are running like either vertical or horizontal shunts that are playing, and he's got them on a loop, so he's not actually playing, but it's just like if you were in an arcade and how the machine stays on to attract
Right.
people to walk over
Yep.
to it. He's got it set up like that, and it is so cool. Sometimes he'll set it up and start recording. He won't come back for an hour. If you go to that channel, it just looks so cool. You'll see something like pulling out of my butt Denzing. You know what that was a vertical shooter that was amazing. And
Oh yeah.
and,
Wow,
and
that's an old. I haven't heard that in a while.
and it'll be on the one on the right, and then he'll have usually you can see like 2 other ones. And I don't know what monitors he's using. I don't think there's anything special about them. I don't think they're that big. He's got the camera really close, and it must be a really high end camera because you're getting zero reflection, and it just the picture quality is just amazing. And but all you're seeing is these tubes, and they're not even broadcast monitors, I don't think. And he's got one of them set up vertical so he can do the whole um, tape mode or tate mode, however you want to call it.
Yeah, I call it Tate, but
Yeah, I do too. But I guess I got you. Someone yelled at me the other day on that because I didn't say tate. I'm not fucking calling it that. All right.
okay. So it's like the fancy way of saying, it's like, will you please pass the letter Tate? Come on, I'm gonna make fun of it. I don't care.
But anyway, it's pretty awesome to see that guy's channel. I'll throw him some. Not that anybody's gonna see ours is gonna go hunt his thing down, but CRTK is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's cool, but sometimes he'll just start talking and just like kind of like me and you talk about anything and everything. That's what he does, but just by himself. And sometimes there's only 5 people, 10 people watching because like right now we got 0. So I'm like, I'd love to get as many viewers as he gets, but I was thinking I've got pretty nice. I can't do the whole vertical thing, but I've got a couple of pretty decent, CRTs that I can have something running in the corner and set something permanent like he does. I just got to figure out which of my retro systems that I want to do that with. And
yeah, so I know that, and this is where I think the PC monitors come in handy, at least the lower end ones.
Yeah, I think that's what these are, by the way.
Because the PC ones, you can actually turn them on their side and you display them vertically without damaging them or anything.
I think he has one vertical and one horizontal. He has other ones around the room, but these are the 2 that on this channel that he does that I've noticed lately. I think he's done other videos where he's got I think he actually has some actual arcade cabinets and things too. But for this thing that he's been doing, you just see a couple of them there. And I think they're CRT or computer monitors. One of them's on its side so he could do the tape mode and the other ones. And then he's got something hooked to it. And I don't know, and it just plays. But it's pretty cool. But I've got enough retro systems that I'm sure I could get something hooked up. And I've always wanted that. I just wanted 2 candy cabs. And through one of the groups that I'm on Facebook, some guy claims that he's going to get us candy cabs from overseas. He wants everybody to, throw in and you have to give a no bullshit. This is how much money I'd be able to come up with. Because, you can't just if you're going to order 30 of these things, you got to have the money up front and to pay for them and to get them shipped to the States so everybody gets one or two. But I figured out what I could come up with and let him know, and we'll see. But that'd be cool, group buy. If I can get one where I'm only paying, say, 1,000 each for one or something like that, or hopefully even much less than that. But yeah, it's those days I think have come and gone. 10 years ago, you could have probably got them for 300 each in a group buy like that, and now, yeah, I just seen one got sold the other day on eBay for not eBay on. I think it was on Facebook. I'm not even sure now, but it was somebody just bought a nice candy cab and paid like $3,800 or something like that for it. And I'm like, damn, I just can't. I can't afford that. I just can't.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I can't.
I can afford $380 for not. You add that extra zero, and it's like, no, I'm out.
Yeah,
I can, because I can get a free tube television. I can hook up a plethora of different video game systems to it and play the exact same stuff that's you're playing in that cab. It just and even better. I can play every game from so that it just makes no sense to pay that much money for something. I don't care how cool it is. It's you gotta some point you gotta draw the line. Sad not to be rich story, but we'll move on from that. If you're rich, you can just do that kind of stuff. But I'm pretty happy with most of the stuff I got.
yeah, I'm good too. I don't need the super latest and greatest.
No, and even with the retro stuff, I've got a lot, but I've bought this stuff over years. It's not like I bought it all yesterday, and I collect things and I get it, and I'll buy stuff and just hang on to it. And some stuff's original that I've just had for 30 years. And I had stuff that I got rid of, and I was lucky enough to get back. I met a guy actually through Twitter who's about to move back down to Louisiana, and it turned out I used to live down there and fairly near where he's moving back to, and he's said that he used to have Everything gaming and all this stuff, and he lost it in the fire a few years ago, and blah blah blah. But he's a really nice guy, and he's into movies, and he does most of his tweets or memes or whatever for funny stuff. But he started DMing me and talking back and forth, and he was like, "Wow, you got this and that a lot." I'm like, "No, not really. It seems, but when you collect this kind of stuff over many years, yeah, it does end up like you got a lot." But it's not like I went out and spent $30,000. I don't know what I've got invested in all of it, but and I've got some pretty weird things too. I mean, I've consoleized Neo Geo MVS, and I've got another consoleized MVS that also has a super gun with it, so I can hook any arcade board. All those amazing CPS boards from Capcom, if I owned any, which I don't, because that's one of those deep dark holes. You got to think twice before you start climbing down that thing, because the money is insane for, I don't even collect games because it bothers me that how much people sell them for, and I just don't believe that, there's too many ways to get them without paying that.
Right.
So why would I want to pay $1,000 or $3,000 for a single arcade board? It's like, no, I'm not doing
I know that the Capcom, because of piracy, I don't know if the CPS 1 or 2, or maybe it's both. They have
three.
the 3, the one where the battery. It's like it has like a
side battery. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if that dies, the board's dead.
And they have ways around that, so it's not really
Oh,
hard
I
to
know.
do it.
I know now
And
they
those
do.
boards, those are really expensive ones, though. But I could buy them. I could get one of those games and one of those boards. They come in two parts. They hook together, and if I had one, I could actually hook it through this super gun that's just came with this consoleized MVS. It's got game slots for MVS built into it, but you don't have to actually use an MVS game. You can actually use an arcade board through the super gun, and then you use it's got Saturn inputs to use, say, a Saturn controller and Neo Geo controller. and there was options to get PS1 or 2, which is the same. I don't know why I said on both, but you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
that controller. It was I just picked the two that I like because I had multiple of those controllers, and so. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's like, yeah, it's great. I can afford an arcade machine, but you know what? I've got that, and I'm not gonna collect arcade boards because they are crazy expensive. And yeah, I don't need to because all those games, no matter how cool it is, having an arcade board with an amazing game on it. I've got that amazing game in a Super Nintendo on an SD card that goes into a real an EverDrive that goes into an actual Super Nintendo hardware, and or even a clone machine or whatever you want to call it. And there's just so many different ways to play retro. It's pretty cool. You can do retro and not spend a lot of money. My God, just the little mini computers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. The RetroPie.
Yeah, thank you.
Pie, yeah.
And I used to hate those retro pies, and I was really anti that. I don't know, buy Super Nintendo, you cheap bastard. And no, that's just crazy. There ain't nothing wrong with getting a retro pie and dropping about 5,000 games on that puppy and hooking it to a decent little LCD screen. No, they got to be big, 24, 32 inch,
yeah.
and got your controller hooked up to. Wow, yeah, and you can use those the ones that are wireless. You buy they have it for almost every of the mini systems, and you use a control.
Yeah,
controller, Genesis controller, Super Nintendo.
Right. Was it retro 8-bit?
Yeah, retro bit.
Retro bit. Yep.
Yep, those are amazing, and they work with the retro
Oh, I
pie
know.
3 and 4
I don't know if you
both. And
saw. I just got. I haven't tried it yet, but I just got the one for the Saturn.
I need that one really bad. I've actually got I've got 2 for the PC Engine / TurboGrafx. It'll work with all of them. It'll work with the Super Nintendo. It'll work with the Genesis, but I want to get the one specific. And since I have the Genesis Mini, I need it. I don't even have.
You will
I didn't
love
buy
it
the
because
controllers. I didn't really think I really needed them, but
that's what's cool about the Saturn controller. Sega licensed it,
yeah,
so it's like the real deal, and it comes with a case. It's only $35. It's on Amazon, and it comes with a case. It comes with both the Saturn, the actual Saturn interface, as well as a USB, so you can play it on the Switch or PS3 or whatever, PC, etc., even Android. So yeah, I check it out if you can. I recommend it. I mean, I'll let you know, how it play. I'm sure it's fine, and it's got good reviews. So
oh yeah, when it came out, I checked it all out, and I need one.
Yeah,
but they've never done a Saturn Mini, the bastards.
No, sadly. I know the Saturn, although they finally are getting to the point where they have a way around it, but the Saturn was such a bear to emulate for the longest time because of all of its processors.
But that guy broke that about a year and a half ago, 2 years
Oh yeah,
ago.
yeah. They finally. I mean, we're finally at that point, and I think a lot of it too is because of the multi-core processor, so they can just map things out. And I mean, I don't know the
do a
technical.
Mini for it so easy.
Yeah, they could,
but I don't know if they ever will, because
is there a market for it? Is the question.
Yeah,
you and I would buy it, but
the majority of the games, the best games, were not Sega. They were Capcom and third-party games that were the Japanese only releases. Most
which
of
is
the really
fine.
good, yeah.
But it's not fine because again, it's licensing, and again, will it sell? Because if it's not going to sell, they're not going to bother.
Yeah, they would. I think they would jump to a Dreamcast Mini before they do the Saturn, which is
Oh, I would. I'd love that.
Saturn stuff out there now. I think it was on with you a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about that Sadiator. I can't pronounce it right. Sadiator. I got.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing just slots into that where the video cards were meant to go, and and you can play everything. It's awesome. I think there's supposedly there's one game that didn't work. I don't remember what it is. I hadn't tried that on it yet, so I don't know. I just downloaded a couple different ROM sets that I already had them downloaded, that I had burned to disk certain games. And so since I already had those ROM sets downloaded, I just, oh,
Well, what I
cool.
like about it is that you don't have to use your disk drive.
Yeah. But you
And
don't lose the disk drive.
right,
That's, I love the fact that I
right,
can take it off the
exactly.
disk and play.
And what's
The other way, you have to gut it and put stuff in there. And
yeah, I'm not saying that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Yeah, I get it. Lasers die, but you know what? Get off your lazy ass and order $1.50 laser from friggin' uh, Alibaba or AliExpress and put it in. And if it don't work, then go back in and readjust it and try it and readjust it and try it, and you'll get it. You know, trust me, I've replaced multiple PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 lasers. Damn Sony and their cheap ass lasers.
Yeah, at least it's replaceable.
Yeah, and they're cheap. You'd think that would be something expensive, but they're dirt cheap.
No, yeah, they're a dime a
For,
dozen.
for
The
my Saturn,
technology,
I ordered like 3 that I have on the shelf.
the CD
And for
technology
my
is the
for my Neo Geo CD, I ordered like 3, and
yeah,
it's
exactly. So what people don't realize is that the CD technology is from the 80s.
yeah.
It's not cutting edge anymore.
But
I mean,
I didn't want to gut one of these machines just to play all the games on it. And with this way, I don't have to. And I just thought that was great. You know, and it's
I'm
like
just
a
impressed that
PS2.
it can read it through the cartridge. I mean, I've always found that impressive. I was just like, huh. I mean, in the U.S. anyway, they didn't use it for much, but other than the backup. But I know there's a ton of stuff you can do with it.
Yeah, it was a great design. I almost wish they would have had the balls to just say, you know what, we don't care about the 3D crap and never try the extra 3D processor in there and just went with the 2D beast.
That would have been awesome. I mean, that's
And
kind
then
of what it is now, sort
and
of.
somehow, some way, Sega of Japan should have wrapped their fist around the throat of Sega of America and said, "You're going to get behind this product 100%, and all games are going to release worldwide." And
Yeah, I agree.
but they didn't.
That's
I guess because the Genesis had so much success, there was something weird about the fact that the American originally operated Sega of Japan, and even though he sold it and then he rebought it and then he got forced out later, but they didn't. They let Sega of America run wild because of the success of the Genesis, and I'm sorry, they were the guys running the Sega of America. They were the ones that screwed things up, not Sega of Japan.
oh, you're totally
Japan
right.
absolutely did the right thing. They were like the Genesis is long in the tooth. We need to jump to the next thing, and they had the Saturn out, and I don't know, they just
Yeah.
it was total mismanagement, and they had to deal with Sony putting their foot on Sega's throat, and yeah, that's not their fault. That's not a bad thing to say against Sony, because Sony couldn't do that to Nintendo, so they're like, well, screw it, we'll just kill Sega. Yeah, one of those things.
Yeah, I blame honestly. I know this it's a blame game, and people will dispute this, and I know it's more than just this, but Bernie Stoller really screwed it up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just
What was the guy
oh,
before him though that had all the success? I
Tom
can't remember.
Kalinske. I like
Yeah, he
Tom.
was the
Tom
one
was
that
awesome.
when he was running it, everything was fine, and
Yeah.
when he left, yeah, things got messed up. They didn't hire the right people to run the company,
No.
and you can't have two different. Yeah, it was just hey, say this about Nintendo. It was always Nintendo out of Japan. Whatever they said, that's what went. No
Right.
matter who was running Nintendo of America, that face. And everybody talks about Reggie Theo. Man, don't stop it. The dudes in Japan have always run that company. They just use the guy that America's always been a face, for their advertising and marketing and
And you
running
know what? That's
make sure
fine.
stuff gets shipped in and
That's
out right. But
that's exactly. I hate to say it, but that's kind of how it should be.
yeah,
because then you have a unified structure. You have a worldwide, product, and everything is more or less parity. I mean, you're always going to have differences in regions. That's just the reality of it. But you won't have the ridiculousness that Sega was in the late '90s, where everything was like in Sega Japan, all the Saturn in Japan, Japanese Saturn, awesome. Oh my God,
Yeah,
there's so much for it. How much of that came to America? Maybe like 10%. Like one, I mean, I might be exaggerating the numbers a bit, but very little. And there's so many games that we missed out on just for an American release. Which
you know,
okay,
Metal Jesus Rocks just put a video out about his Saturn collection, and sometimes that's all it takes is some big shot YouTuber. Uh, and he's big on YouTube. I mean, he has, I don't know what his viewership is. I mean, it's got to be in the low millions.
oh my goodness, wow,
I don't
that
know
is
how
huge.
much. I don't know how it's that much, but he's big. He really is, and his videos are semi entertaining, I think, and it's cool that he's a retro guy. But yeah, he I watched it. And he wasn't totally correct about everything on it. By the way, I'm being a Saturn junkie, but it's still a good, solid video. And he has 179, and he kept. It's kind of funny because he kept pointing to like a he kept talking about the disc that didn't have cases for and loose, and that was okay and blah blah blah. But what he was really trying to say, and he wouldn't say it, they were burned copies.
Yeah,
and they had pictures on them. They looked real, by the way, but they were burned copies, and it was obvious. Well, it wasn't obvious. It was if you didn't know better and didn't understand, you would have just thought he had a bunch of Saturn discs that just didn't have cases. But they were, yeah, he was. It was pretty funny stuff. So if you get a chance, watch his video. It's
I will. I'll definitely check that out.
yeah, it's hey, you got anything to support the Saturn. It's
Sure. Yeah. No. Definitely. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I'm a huge Saturn junkie. Even though I just admitted moments ago that as far as retro goes, I probably play more Super Nintendo games than any system. But
it can be both. That's
yeah,
the thing. It's like I love when people like, well, if you're retro on one, you can't be retro on another. Oh, screw you. No,
yeah,
that's not how this works.
exactly. Uh,
You know what I love about retro? I was lucky in the sense that I was always into those older systems before it became a thing. So I got a lot of games for good prices that are now astronomically high. And I'm thankful for that. Although there's still a bunch of games because it's impossible to get them all that I wish I had, but I'm thankful for what I do have. And
I had
I
spent.
am
Go ahead.
loving what I've finally embraced because screw it. I finally embraced the repo and those little those SD
Oh yeah.
the ones where you just load everything on and because you can't get them and the developers are not getting any of this money that people are selling them for. It's just going right into the pocket of the person selling it.
But right, because that game isn't being sold anyway.
No, it's not.
So I
It's
don't. If a console's dead, then it's fair game. But here's the problem now is because some of these older games are getting resold on through digital services, and now that can be a problem. You're playing that same game on your EverDrive or your repo
Yeah,
card, and
that's
that
true. That's
I
the
can
gray
see where
area.
that can be a little gray. Back to the gray area is now back. For years there was no gray area. I'm like Nintendo no longer produces this game. This company may not even exist anymore that made this game. So there's no one to get this money anyway. So I don't feel bad about it. It's hey, here's
So,
what it
but
is.
what I will do, like for example, like I just bought the Blizzard pack because I do support them. I do support when they do release it
I bought
digitally.
that too.
Yep, I love it. I love
I
it.
love stuff like that. And I don't even
I
like
kind of
Blizzard games.
miss.
But it had rock and roll racing on it. So I'm like, all right, I like that. But I didn't like
Yeah,
the other games on it. But I didn't care. I will support this because this is
yeah.
console games. And it's great. And it's not that expensive. So I
Nope.
bought it immediately.
And I do have the original cartridge
And
too. I
rock
mean,
and roll racing is fucking amazing.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. That definitive edition, I love what they added. It. They started talking about the planets, and they added a ton of voice samples. I was like, cool. They got Larry back, which was really cool. I just wish they didn't have to take out Black Sabbath. I hope they eventually get that right. Those
Well,
rights.
I have that on a version on my EverDrive, so it is what it is. So
Yeah, but you know what? They added in a lot of extra music tracks that in the definitive edition
yeah.
that do fit that game perfectly. So I'm not upset about it. I just wish that they would patch in the save function for the definitive edition rather than the password. But whatever. Um, Maybe they will. I don't know. That's the
We've
only.
talked about it before. I get upset about all these great chumps that come out on the fucking I almost call it the Wii on the Switch. And they don't come out on the Xbox. I'm tired of it.
I don't know
So
why.
put your fucking game on the Xbox. People will buy it. If 10 people buy it, that's $300 you didn't have as a developer, and it didn't cost you 300 to put it
I
on.
don't. I'm not convinced it's the developer though because there's so many of them.
Yeah,
It,
it's getting spooky.
because there's yeah because it's not just one. It's not like just Hamster or Neo
Yeah,
Geo or whatever. No, it's like all these companies, from different Cave and
if,
all
if,
different publishers.
if Phil makes his trip to Japan, the problem is he goes to the big boys and he twists their arm. You got to put your shit on the Xbox, and he gets it done. That's why we now have all the Yakuza games, and
Right.
we've got most of the Final Fantasy games, most. But he's not going to these other ones. He's not courting these little ones, and they just keep skipping the Xbox, and it's pissing me off because you know what? I love the Switch, but it's not as good. I'm sorry, it's not. And I know it didn't matter for these games. That game's not gonna look any better with the Xbox. But I like having a primary system.
No, I
And I'd love
understand.
to have those games on that primary
I
system.
I get it. I get it. I do. I understand. And you're right. And I think that's another reason I went with the PS5. I hate to say it, but the PS5 gets those games.
Well, it gets a lot of them. You don't get as many as the Switch.
No, but they're
You're right. It
still
gets about
they're still
75% of them because
true. But
I
there's
look all the time for that, and I always told myself, well, it's okay. I can either get it on the PS4 or the Switch, and then now it's going to
yeah, and
be.
that's I mean true, true. The
But
PS4. I mean, I'm
I've
not.
got 800 games on my Xbox right now. I've got multiple hard drives, and it's like, wow. I don't want a physical edition.
Well,
I'm not asking them to put it on a physical edition and sell it.
I'm gonna
There's
net this.
no
Yeah,
distribution and all that. Just put it fucking digital. Put it on
and
their store.
and I know that some guy's gonna come up hear this and come up with, well, if you really feel that way, buy a PC. Yeah, we know.
You know what? All of these don't come out on PC either. I'm just telling you.
Mm,
They
true.
don't. Some of these chumps, I know PC gets 99.9% of everything, but they don't get all of these. Some of these are just Switch and PS4. Some of them are just Switch. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I
What
don't know.
the F? I'm like, I don't care how small you are. If it's two guys, one of you can do the port to the friggin' Xbox, and 10 people buys it, you make $300, you split it 150 each. That's more than you had before. Why aren't these games going on there?
I think there's more to this story than we can
Yeah,
see.
there's something going on. Microsoft, they've done something to piss somebody off at some point, and they just wow, yeah. I know at one time Microsoft pissed off all Japanese gaming companies originally, but they've get over it. It's been 20 years. Most of them's got over it, and
There was a time for a brief period when the 360, when the 360 was prominent, where they were like the forefront of the indie scene. Like they actually had this whole, people can
yeah,
make games on Xbox and publish them, and Microsoft would throw them up there. You can either buy them or some of them are free. What happened to that? It went away.
yeah.
It
Well,
just
they still got their idea at Xbox, but
right, but it's not. It's nothing like it was in the 360
no,
days.
they commercialized it to the point, and it's got to be the game has to be a level that they deem acceptable, and they kind of
Yeah,
make them jump through too many hoops. Um, Whereas,
I
oddly
respect
enough,
that, but only
Nintendo
to
was
a
the
point.
company that would never allow that kind of stuff till they're the darling of the indie scene now.
Yeah.
But all these ain't indies. Some of these were just great games from past systems that somebody now owns the rights to, and they put it out, and they don't put it out on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
God, what? I'm just getting tired of it. But I guess I have a Switch, or my son has it, and I have a dock for it. So I'm just gonna have to either buy my own Switch and put more of the games, just buy the digital versions. All these, thank God, because even with the Switch, you can buy all these digital. You don't have to go hunt down the
Oh yeah, yeah,
physical.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I know it's great when people have physical collections. I love the fact that people collect and they want to call those little the Switch physical, and it's an SD card. Get over it. It's not really physical edition. It's whatever, but it's cool. I get to collect it.
It's it's physical in the sense that it's an SD card. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like just in your Switch, but
That guy, I see the video the other day where the guy had the balls to actually call them cartridges.
they're not
My
cartridges.
Switch cartridges. I love it. He said, I love my collection of Switch cartridges. I'm like, what the fuck?
I call them
That's a
cards.
WTF moment
I
there
do
when you yell
call
at
them.
the TV. What the?
I admit I'm guilty of this, where I call them cards just for the sake of ease, but they're not really cartridges. They're cards. That's
They're not even
basically what they.
cards. They're all they're SD cards. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but whatever. That's just potato potato. But anyway, uh, the in terms of the Switch, yeah, the digital's great. But what's cool about with a lot of these games, because I put a lot of them on my wish list, Nintendo has and the developers have good sales every now and again. It's not as good
Yeah.
as what Steam does, but it's good. Where they'll chop off 50, 60%. You get these like $10 games for like $2. And I'm like, okay, buy. And it's a retro too. Even like the Neo Geo stuff does go on sale. They do 50% off more often than not. I'm shocked. Even games have been out for like a couple of years now. So if you do get a Switch, just put them on your wish list if you don't want to buy them right
Yeah, I
away,
was
and
thinking of
eventually they will.
putting 300-400 bucks back, and then, but before that's just for some games. I still got to get a proper Switch because I don't want to be using my son's.
Yeah, no,
I need to get my own proper Switch, but I was thinking, well, I know a Pro's coming, but will it be backwards compatible? Maybe, because I don't think they're going to do the mid-gen upgrade. They're just going to come out with a whole new console,
I agree
which
at
is
this
already
point.
kind of too late to do mid-gen. It's past mid-gen,
Yeah,
a whole year past mid-gen. Now, Sony did with the PlayStation 4, they actually did it a year early. Microsoft did it exact mid-gen. Well, actually, I guess that couldn't be called mid-gen. Well,
no, I think
it
you're
was
right. I
7
think it's so
years,
much.
and Sony did it at 3, and they did it at 4. So 3.5 would have been the true mid-gen.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they bookended
going
it
with,
basically.
I, most of these games that I'm talking about, an upgraded Switch isn't going to help them any. They are what they are. If you're playing a 30-year-old shump, it's going to look what it looks like. You might
Yeah,
you just be happy you're getting a res bump on it. It's I know
I'll be
Microsoft's doing
honest, it looks
it.
great. I mean,
Yeah,
I've played so many of them on the Switch, and I have, one or two on the PS4 and 5. And just as an example, like some of the shooters, there's no difference. I mean, unless you're into the trophies and achievements, which is fine. Even then, some of them actually have, even though it's not universal, they have the trophies in them. You still get them. You just don't. It's not like a universal thing, like you display it up on on a board somewhere for Xbox or something, but it's still there for a lot of them. So
I don't play for trophies or gamer score or any of that crap.
me either, but I'm just
I play
saying.
because
But
I love playing a game, and then
I get what my takeaway is. This is for these older, emulated games. The Switch is perfectly fine.
yeah,
You can't get. You're not gonna get any better than that.
it's like I don't need to wait for a Switch Pro that
No.
may not be backwards compatible anyway, but I think it will be. You think Nintendo would look at what both Sony and Microsoft are doing, but they might not. You just never know with Nintendo.
Yeah, they're their own. They uh they move to their own drum beats, so they that's fine. But even if you don't wait, it's all about value. You can't really go wrong at this point because there's so much on it. And
Yeah.
what's really cool about it is it's compatible with so many arcade sticks, especially if you do the USB connection.
Well, the thing is, I'm going to buy that one that's specific for the Switch. That
There's a
looks like
couple now.
I know, but no, there's the main one. It's about the same one that does those controllers we were just
Yeah,
talking about
that's one I
earlier.
have too. It looks like a big advantage. It looks cool.
Yeah, that's the one I want for it. I see a lot of people use that particular stick
It's
for
upgradable
PC
too.
and other things, and people just like it. I don't know what special about it, but
Well, What's special about it is that it's actually upgradable. You can actually take out the parts and swap them out for more, better parts.
Yeah, and that's fine. I never do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, but that's just more for people who happen to
But
be listening to
I
this.
was
But
even I never bought the Switch. I was going to get one of those just because I'm stupid and I collect sticks and I'm not too overboard. In fact, I'm looking at them right now and I'm going to count them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I'm leaning 10. So I have 10 sticks, fight sticks, whatever you want to call it. And I play almost no fight games and I hardly use them at all, but I can't help myself.
I only have like four, and well, maybe more than that if you go back to the Super Nintendo because I bought like the Advantage and the Super
I mean, well,
Nintendo
I have
Advantage.
2 uh, Saturn sticks. I've got the really awesome Virtua Stick one.
I
Uh,
have that. Well, I have the Sega not Saturn, the Sega Genesis. I have the stick for that.
yeah, I've got a Genesis stick. In fact,
Um,
I got a couple of Genesis sticks. I've got a TurboGrafx stick or slash PC engine. I've got the most awesome, considered one of the best one ever made. That was for the PlayStation 1, which means you can use it for the PS2 and PS3. But it's crap. I'm looking at it, but I'm far enough away that I can't read the name. It's by they don't normally sell third party. I'm not even saying it right. Fairfields. I said it
Fairfields, you got it
right.
right.
I said
Yeah,
it right
you said
then.
it.
But it's hold on. Now it's going to kill me if I don't stand up and say the name. Namco.
Oh
Now that
yeah,
I said that, I realize actually they do. They sell a lot of third party stuff. But anyway, it's got the one that had the yellow buttons, the yellow ball. But the parts in it never needed to be upgraded because they were really high quality. And it's not very big, so and it just was an amazing stick that people collect and love. And it's not as high quality as that Virtua stick that I got for the Saturn. I don't have the double; I just got the single one. You can get the big 2-player one for that Virtua stick. But God, those go for like $500 and $600 now.
oh I know. Oh
And I
God,
was
I
pretty
know.
lucky. When I bought that Virtua stick, I actually got it pretty cheap. I think I only paid about $80 for it back in the day. And now even that one goes usually for like 150, give or take. And you look at that stuff on eBay, and I hate doing that because it's just way too expensive. And then I bought I don't know who makes it. I'm looking at down on the bottom of a little stand I got. It's it works for the Saturn also, or it is a Saturn stick, but it's yeah, I'm not sure who makes it, but it was new old stock. It was brand spanking new when I got it.
Hmm.
I'm like, holy shit. In fact, I don't even use it. I just the little the part that plugs into your console, it's still wrapped. I mean, it was brand new out of the box. Pretty cool. I don't know if it was any good or not because like I said I don't even know who made the thing. I'd have to get looking.
Yeah, if I'm sure it's still good.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I had that virtual stick, so when I got this one, I was like, well, I don't really need it, so I'm not going to fool around and you know use it till I need it. It says ASCII.
Okay, yeah, they
Yeah,
made a lot of.
ASCII Saturn stick.
Yep.
But it was brand spanking new,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's a good stick
old stock.
because
Yeah,
ASCII's pretty good. I have they made the Super Advantage and the Super Nintendo. They made a lot.
yeah.
They
The TurboGrafx stick I got, or PC Engine, whichever one you want to call it, it's ASCII.
Yeah, no, you got good. That's a good stick.
But then I
It'll
got a
work.
Neo Geo stick. I got the regular Nintendo NES stick.
Yep,
Uh,
the
I, I
Advantage.
think I said last week I did not have the one for the Super Nintendo version, but I do. It's not sitting in here with these though. It's actually in the bottom of a closet in the box. And I have the one for the Neo Geo. I've got one that's the big black one. Um,
The original.
yeah,
Yeah.
the original. And then I've got the one that's bean shaped one they call it or whatever.
Oh
I've
yeah,
got,
that one. Yeah.
yeah, that was for the actually was for the CD. Neo Geo CD, but it works on any Neo Geo. They all use the same plug. And then I've got one that works on like the PS3, 360, Xbox One, PS4. Um, I've got that it's the F300 version of the. I'm not even sure the company that makes it, but they've got an F5 or F600 version of it that's much better, but it's actually for low cost. It's really, really good. It's Mayflash. They got their start making adapters for sticks. Excuse me. And then now they make their own stick. And it's instead of an adapter that lets you play a stick on multiple consoles, they just made their own stick that worked on multiple consoles. So they were selling you the whole thing instead of just an adapter, Mayflash. But I want to get that newer model they got out. I think it's actually went up to about I think it runs about $110 now. But they actually seem a little more upgraded. And I think it works perfectly fine with both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So, but I don't know. That's like I said, I want that one for the Switch, and then I also got to get a Switch, and those don't really go on sale, so it's like you got to pay full price for it.
Oh no, yeah, it's still selling like hotcakes. So
yeah, the thing is that by the time, even if a new system comes out, those will all get sold off, and you couldn't even get a
Wii U.
They never dropped on those. I kept waiting. Oh, we've talked about this before. I waited, and then thinking, I'll get one for like $100.
Nope,
$90. No, we're full price. So they were all gone. And I guess there might be some still floating around out there, but you got to be hunting them down and ready to pounce.
Oh, I know.
And I just didn't care enough about the Wii U to do that. But I'm actually 2 Nintendo systems down. But I guess I never cared because I did get a Switch for my son and I bought a second dock for it, so I can go grab the Switch from him anytime and throw it in my dock.
Yeah, and more of the Wii U games are appearing on the Switch, so really.
Yeah, so I may end up never getting that Wii U, but I definitely need to buy a Switch to have just for me. Only because I love those shumps, and it just kills me that stuff comes out for the Switch, and they just ignore Xbox, and I don't get it, but it's getting worse too. I just seen just the other day some new games come out, and I'm like, they were not wasn't games that were being published or funded by Sony, and yet, not on Xbox. It's like, what the hell? That Microsoft needs to squash some people. I don't care what I'm saying. They're big enough; they can do it.
I don't know. I don't know either. But yeah.
Well, I guess most of those developers are too small. Microsoft ain't ever going to buy them, and I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there's some kind of cachet to snubbing Microsoft and weird stuff.
We may never know, but I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know. I can't even speculate. I really can't.
Watching party on, yeah. And somebody, I said that and I killed it. Now it's just 2.
Oh,
good, Mark. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we get off here, was the Sony State of Play? What you got a PS5? So what do you think?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun on Twitter on that too about calling.
I didn't. There's so much more that's coming out that I know of, and that they kind of pulled the same thing with Nintendo did, is where we're just going to show a couple of games, or to start out with Crash of all things. I mean, I'm like, okay, that was last gen. That's nice, but you don't have to waste time on this. Returnal looks fine. That's like the highlight of the whole thing, and then everything else was just like, okay.
I guess this stuff could be COVID related because Nintendo for a while was just dropping games no problem, and why now they're not? That's not a new console. They should have. I know why Sony, or at least I thought I knew. Well, they've only sold 4 or 5 million of these things, but all these games would have been backwards compatible with the PS4, so that's 110 more million people. So with your 5 million PS5s, you're up to 115 million. So it's got to be COVID. It can't be just.
And here's the thing too. Like, where was Ratchet and Clank? I mean, that's out in June, and where is? I mean, what
Ratchet
about?
and Clank's that's a PS4 also, right?
No,
Oh, that was
that's
on the PS5. So I can
that was
understand
built up.
that.
Yeah,
There's only 5 million PS5s sold, so that's not enough. You got
I
to.
think that's why they delayed it
If you
because
look back to the PS4, it tucked to that magic 10 million sold mark, and I think that's when they dropped Bloodborne. At the 5-6 million mark was the werewolf game that was beautiful but kind of short.
yeah, I
You
know
know
what
what
you
I'm
mean.
talking about? I can't think of the name of it, but it was really good, but just too
What
short.
the order
Yeah,
1980, whatever the hell it's
yeah,
called.
or
It
1880s.
was a good game. I'm not knocking
That
it,
came
but
out. That was one of the first bangers or whatever you want to call it, or really,
yeah.
I don't want to call it that. Just it was one of the first really good games that was specifically for that console that was exclusive.
But
And
still, I feel like, I mean, because really the people that were watching that really are the Sony, hardcore Sony folks. And they really didn't show anything that A, we didn't know, and B, that was surprising. Like I said, they didn't even go for the third party. Like, where's Resident Evil 7? Resident Evil 8? Where's, like, yeah, there's just a lot they could have done, they didn't.
there was a couple people tried to argue with me that it's state of play. It just means what's right now. They're not doing games from a year from now, a year and a half.
That's
And I'm
not
like,
the way it was
but
in the
they didn't do that
past.
either. It was the games that, there's stuff that should be out. That should be out right now.
No,
It's coming out right now. And they didn't have anything. They should have been a gameplay for them. And so I'm like, well, it wasn't even. Maybe they should have done a state of play yet. I
would
think
have
they're
waited.
just doing it because Microsoft's been talking about doing a show, so they're like, "Oh, let's do a state of play." Maybe it was thrown together a little quick. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
who
I mean,
does those.
I know a lot of people argue that it's only February, and there's a lot to just. I'm sure there's more coming out, and I'm sure whatever E3. I don't even know if there's going to be E3 this year, but whatever when June rolls around, I'm sure that
That's
they'll
when
all
the majority of announcements are going to come back as
yeah.
news.
So
All stuff in.
plus two, what people don't understand is that for most of these companies, the fiscal year ends in March. And starts in April. It's not like a July. I mean, I deal in banking, so I know all about this. But for them, everything they're not going to announce the new fiscal year until the new fiscal year hits. So don't expect anything fancy until April or May. That's and that's why June is such a big deal because most of these companies that's their first quarter, and they want to show everyone that the holiday, the holiday season's their third quarter, and they're going to have the strong sales and the hype, and
Well,
that's
that
why they
goes
do what they do.
way back to when it had to do with magazines needed that much lead time. Show me the game in June. That way, come
There's that too.
my issue in October, my issue in November, and even my December issue, I can have cover shots of whatever game.
Yep.
And I can have big stories on it. But you got to show that to me as far back as June to have all those layouts and that article and all that done in time. And so that's what E3 was for. Because before it was even E3, they did that at CES.
CES, right?
Yeah, and
twice a year, January and June. Yeah.
January when I've actually been to both of them when they were still in LA before CES moved to Vegas. When it was actually in LA, and it was so sad because all the gaming stuff was outside, out back. It was pathetic, and it was so weird because who you talked about earlier. I can remember standing beside of was it Kalansky?
Yeah,
Right?
Tom Kalinske.
President. It was before Stoller, so it had to be Kalansky.
Yeah,
it was the president of Sega. I'm standing beside them, and there was like other people talking to me and stuff, but I was literally less than 6 inches listening to the reporters that were asking questions, and he was talking about. And it was amazing, and I was just standing in a fucking parking lot. Yeah, there was a half tent thing overhead, and there was 30 other tents out there with tables and things and stuff was set up, but it was all the TVs and VCRs and all that shit was inside, and it was pretty sad. But that's why they all got together and they moved to do their own show. And
yeah.
But it was meant that lead for because most of the games come out at the end of the year, and That's kind of changed now because more games drop. Although somebody, I heard a guy the other day. I really hate some of these YouTubers that don't know and understand history. Was talking about, well, Sony's holding back, so their big games at the end of the year. They always put their best games and biggest games at the end of the year, and I'm like, where are you fucking getting that kind of information from? Sony has never been known to release games against the heavy hitters at the end of the year. The closest I've ever seen them come was an October release with fucking Spider-Man. And they knew how big Spider-Man was going to be. And they knew they could go head to head with uh, war games. Crap.
Call of
Yeah,
Duty,
thank you.
and
Call of
Battlefield.
Duty
Yeah.
and all of those that come out at the end of the year. But Sony notoriously never releases November, December big games. They might drop stuff, but it's not their bangers. Their bangers have always came out March, April, June, July, August, September. And about September is usually the latest for a banger, but they pushed Spider-Man back to October. And even October is kind of early for holiday games. Most of them release mid to late November, all the way up to like the first week of December. And then anything after that's kind of an afterthought. But whatever. This guy didn't understand that, and it was like he was just talking out of his ass. And then this shit always bugs me. But he was on a podcast, and I wasn't on that podcast, so I couldn't call him out for being an idiot. Well, I guess I could have jumped on their chat and done it, but it was like I didn't want to do that. But
he was from the risk
shit like that. It's like you better get your history and know a little bit. And
yeah, no, all right. I mean, I don't know. I just all I do know is that I was not impressed with it, like most people, and I'm more flexible with that. And just like I really wasn't impressed with Nintendo's either. I mean, I'm glad Splatoon 3 is coming out, in 2022. But yeah, the state of play it was lackluster. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've seen, but it was far from the best. And I still think this is so much more they could have showed. But oh well. As they say, it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't care much for it either. I like Sony's format. I was talking about this on Mr. Boomstick show the other day. I got he only had a couple of people. I guess some people he had invited that said they were going. They ended up showing up late, and eventually they all got there. So there was like 9 of us. But he sent out the bat signal. You know, hold on, early in the show saying I don't have anybody, and so I volunteered and got there, and it ended up there was a bunch of us because the people showed up, and then some of the original people that were late showed up. So, but anyway, on that show, I talked about that I love the gaming shows. I like being showed what's coming and all that, but I just thought, yeah, this was kind of sad what they showed. I just think if you don't got more than that, wait, it's February. Well, do your first show in April and do another one May 2 months later, May, June. So that's perfect. You didn't have to do one in February. But I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't know how often I've never tracked Sony's state of plays on how often they do them.
I don't either. I just kind of go
Some
with
people
the flow.
Crap like that, and it's like, oh, it's all crazy console war stuff. I just know I like watching shows when they do them. And I've liked, out of all 3 formats, I prefer Sony's because it's usually wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
I'll agree with that.
I love that. I'm not a gameplay guy either. I don't need to see the gameplay. I'm happy it's just all trailers, and if you do show gameplay, that's okay too.
Yep.
I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm just saying I don't need it. I know what I like, so I don't need to see somebody play it. Boy, that gets me a lot of trouble on several podcasts.
To be honest, I'm kind of. So I agree to a point. Like I think that they need to. It's because it really isn't. When they do show gameplay, I don't know if it's for people like us so much as it's for people that are on the edge. They're like, I want to see the game first. And admittedly, with the internet being what it is, they really don't necessarily need to show much gameplay. I mean, it's good to have a sizzle reel. You need one.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like what I do now, and I'm sure a lot of people do, is when there's a game that I want and I'm not sure about it, I wait till it's released, and then I go to YouTube and I find, here's the first 20 minutes of the game, and I watch that. And then I just make a decision. And really, that sells the game more, or the
Yeah,
opposite
if
it
I've
may.
never played it, then I like to watch somebody play some of it,
Yeah,
and that's fine. But let's
yeah,
look at Watch Dogs 3 that just come out, which I love. I know it's not really called Watch Dogs 3s. They had to put a
Legion.
name.
Yeah, I know.
Not that killer. But anyway, I'd played the original Watch Dogs. Media hated it. It didn't get good scores. I don't know how well it sold. I guess it sold well enough. They put out a Watch Dogs 2. But I liked it a lot, by the way. The first Watch Dogs game. I didn't really like the second one because I kept hearing people shit on the first one. Whenever they would talk about the second one, or they would always have to shit on the first one to like justify the second one. I'm like, wait a minute, I played that and I actually liked it. And then I
Right.
played the second one. I kind of didn't like it. I thought that character was too whatever. He just didn't. I don't know. I didn't like it. It was too much. Well, I don't want to say woke because it ain't got to do with female, but it was too much of a character that.
Politically correct character.
Yeah, exactly. It was. Well, let's show that we're not this or we're not that, so we'll make the character this and we'll make the character that instead of just making a great character, which I thought they did in the first game. But I get you can do the second one. That's fine. Whatever. I just didn't like the mechanics, some of the stuff in it. I didn't care for as much. I don't know what exactly about it that was, uh, but I still understood the mechanics. So when Watch Dogs 3 was coming, I knew I was going to like it. It was fine. It turned out I loved it because I liked the whole uh, multiple characters. I guess because maybe that whole thing about the characters from 1 to 2, they just realized that they couldn't please. Yeah, so they just said, crap, we'll just make everybody in the game can be the character. And that was genius. It's a lot of fun. It's not groundbreaking in any way. The driving in it's not as good as driving around in Grand Theft Auto. The action's not as good as any action game you can mention. The graphics are pretty good. They're not. It's not cutting. It's not like Red Dead or God of War level, but they're good. It's just all in all, and I knew that before going in, so I didn't need to see anybody play it. I knew I was going to like it. And that's all I was trying to get at. I didn't need to bring all that 1 and 2 into it, but I just know what I like. I knew I was going to like that, and I did. Now the Assassin's Creed, I've been playing it, and wow, I'm not as big a fan of this one as I was the last couple. It's good, but I don't know. I kind of hate to miss the more linear Assassin's Creed where you're, but I know these are much bigger in scope. But the more RPG elements they seem to add, the less I seem to like them. And I know I'm wrong on that. I know they keep making them better, and I should be liking it more, but I just kind of like the older Assassin's Creed games.
To be honest, that's fine. I mean, it may just not click with you, and that's perfectly valid.
Well, maybe because of how big they are. I don't like 80, 100-hour games. I say that, and I loved Red Dead, but I didn't like it being 100 hours or 80 hours.
Yeah,
with the last couple of Assassin's Creed, the last 3, it's man, they are humongous games, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm the way I play. Sometimes I just want 10 minutes. You can't just jump into an Assassin's Creed game for 10 minutes. You ain't getting nothing done.
right.
You got to put 2-3 hours in it, and then that's too much to do that night in, night out. So they kind of lose me. I lose steam after about 30 hours. I don't know what it is, but I don't mean I don't like the game. I do, and I keep buying them. I keep playing them, but I've not finished any of those 3. So
Yeah, with me,
but I've enjoyed them. I just hadn't finished them.
I really haven't had the wherewithal to finish a lot of those longer games too. Not just Assassin's Creed, but like some of the longer ones. I just don't have the time really because I'm doing projects with my job, and life just gets in the way. So I like the shorter ones.
That used to be my excuse. I was working 12-hour shifts, 60-hour weeks, guaranteed, week in, week out. And I was working overnight. I was sleeping all day, so I did not have time to jump into a 100-hour game. I was never going to finish it. Now I have the time, but I still don't want to. I don't get. I thought, oh well, this is the one good thing about my poor health that I can play video games out the yin yang. And but maybe after so many years, I just kind of trained myself to how I like to play, and that's coming back to that Series X, that whole quick resume. Holy crap, dude, that is the real deal. I'm just telling you.
Oh yeah, no, I know it. I know it. I've seen
Literally,
it.
I've got like 10 games set up right now, and I just jump between them, and there's no loading, there's no nothing, and it's just so amazing to go back and forth.
That's nice. No, I love that feature. I do. I do.
Hopefully, they know it's a great feature, and they had to turn it off for a bunch of games at the beginning. I haven't checked Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed, so I don't even know if either one. I think those are the ones, two of the ones that were turned off. They may be working. I haven't went back to them in about a month, so I don't know. I'll have to check. But I don't know. I don't even know how many you can have in the feature. Like I said, I said 10, but I think I probably only
I
have
think
six.
it's like 6. I
Yeah,
mean,
I was gonna say I think I
but
only have 3 or 4.
because really what it is just a memory dump into the hard
Yeah,
drive. That's all it is. RAM dump. That's what I mean. I'm not making light of it. That's a good thing. That's an awesome feature, but I mean, it's not as complex as people think it is.
no,
So which is fine, and
but
that's
they're the only one that has it, and it's
yeah,
pretty nice to be able to And that's what I usually play 3 or 4 games at any given time. I jump back and forth between them, so I mean, it is what it is.
that's fine. I mean, at least on the PS5 they don't have that, but on the other hand, the few games that are on the like that are not the backward compatible ones, the ones that are actually programmed for PS5, the loading in half these games are so fast, it's almost like
Yeah,
jumping into it. I mean, Miles Morales, you're in it in seconds. You just from the main screen, um, the main PS5 screen, when you log in, to the point you're actually playing on your save is like 10 seconds, if that. Going through all the screens straight. So it's whatever. Granted, that's that game. I mean, it's not everything, but hopefully. But no, it's a good feature to have. It really is.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome to just jump from one game to the next, and it's not even like, I mean, all these games load amazingly fast, but it's literally instantaneous, and it's right where you left off. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it really is a special feature, and hopefully soon there'll be more, and every game will be eligible for it. And I don't know how many you need. I would like more than what it is now. I don't know if they can push that much memory aside for it, or if you can. Who knows? But I
Well,
just
it depends on how big those dumps are, because it can eat up memory quick. If it's using like 6 or 10 gigabytes. I mean, and I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know, so take
my
this with a grain of
understanding is it
salt.
just
But
takes like a snapshot, so I don't think it's that much.
yeah, it may not be. I
And
mean,
then
I
brings it up. It somehow, from where that snapshot was at in the game, it figures out how to get back into the game and have it played.
it's probably a caching issue
Um,
too. Not issue, but caching. A cool caching feature where it does like it's just enough for you to start the game, and then but you get to play it as it loads it up in the background. Like it completes the load as you're doing it, so it's
yeah,
instantaneous. It's a brilliant feature. I mean, I'm impressed by it. I am, and something that I'm glad that we've moved past standard hard drives and we're into, even though they're more expensive, the solid states, because it's so much better. I do not want to go back ever.
yeah. The way things load now, it's just holy shit. It's amazing.
It's almost not quite there, but it's almost like the old cartridge games. With a
Yeah,
couple of
well,
exceptions, but
but not only that. I mean, it really is just like hitting the power button on a Super Nintendo. When
yeah,
I turn my Series X on, literally before I can reach down, pick up my TV remote, and I know you can have it so it'll automatically turn the TV on, but I've got it opposite of that. I have to I reach down and pick up my TV remote and hit power before by the time that screen comes up. It's already you're there in the
Yeah,
Xbox,
yeah,
already
yeah,
there. Now I've noticed they've already got the TV on. It's a couple seconds, three tops.
yeah.
I'm like,
It's right
that's
away.
insane. You remember how long?
The Series X, when I just by comparison, because I don't do that fast boot thing because I found for me the fast boot was messing things up. So when I boot it up from scratch, it takes about a good minute. It does, and if I do the fast boot, it's still like 30 seconds or 20 seconds.
Yeah,
It's way more than the Xbox Series X or even the PS5. The PS5 is almost instant too, in most cases. And I think the Series X is a little faster in that sense, but I don't have the two to compare, so I can't really tell you. But the
yeah. I don't
PS5
have
is
to the
so
five yet.
fast. I mean,
I've got
it's
the
crazy.
$500 set back to buy one, but there's some days I'm like I'm not going to do it. There's just nothing. They don't have that much out that I can't get on my Series X, and it does have some issues, and they're fixing things, but like that whole memory thing, holy crap! To get the expanded, they've not done that because it gets too hot, and they're working on cranking up that fan speed again so you can add the memory. Yeah, that was just poor design choice. I don't get that, but and it's still looking at like June before they get it worked out,
Yeah, I know.
and it's
I'll
I
just be
you know
happy with
what?
a.
I
Uh,
don't think it matters all that much. I've not went and bought the $210 memory expansion for the Xbox. I just told my son the other day that I needed to get one of those, and then later I was like, yeah, never mind. I don't. No, I got other things I want to buy. Uh, if it's a true Series X game, then if I've got too much on my internal, I'll just delete that off and put what I want to play on there, and everything else will just go on my regular hard drives. If I've got more. So if anything, I'm going to spend $150 on one of those 8 gig. You know the one I'm talking about, or not 8 gig,
yeah,
8 terabyte.
the terabyte. Yeah, I know what you meant.
I've got a neat one already, a black color, so I'm gonna get the white one,
So
and then I've got two other smaller ones.
I do for the PS5. It does you can in fact not PS5 games, but the PS4 games all can load on the external.
Yeah,
And that's what I have them on. So it doesn't use the PS5 memory at all. And honestly, it's plenty fast. I mean, it's not PS5 fast, but it's faster than it was on the PS4.
well, I was
So
shocked
I'm
how
good
much
with that.
crap Xbox have got out there that actually utilizes that new internal drive that actually says it's an Xbox Series X or S
Oh
game.
yeah,
And there's shit I'm like, I don't know. I'm deleting. I don't want that on my hard drive. I've already played it, and I don't want to play it again. It wasn't that good. But just without me doing anything, I just noticed one day, damn, that thing's almost full. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't put none of those on there. No, they just go on there. It figures it out. Once they added that whatever, it just at some point it just moved it to it. And I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't move it, but yeah, it got on there. I'm like, get off my fucking hard drive. I'm not playing you. You suck, game. Some things are just not good. You have to be honest about it.
Oh no, yeah, that's true.
I don't want to get rid of it. I was like, I got to get that off my internal. I don't care if it is a Series X game. It's you're going to an old hard drive, or you can live in the cloud or wherever you want. I don't care, but
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the memory expansions for the PS5. But for now, I'm
I'll
good.
get that one for the Xbox. But I'd love to see the first price drop. Now I'm thinking it's not going to be a big price drop. I'm thinking it's going to go 180. And what'll happen is they're going to come out with a 2 terabyte one that'll probably be like 220, 230, and then the 1 terabyte one they'll have to drop down to 180, 170, something
That
like
would be
that.
cool. Yeah.
Then I'll get the 1 terabyte one because I can live with that. But until then, I think I'm going to buy another 8 terabyte external, and then I should be good. I should never need another one of those. The majority of my games will just live on the 2 8 terabytes, and I think the other ones I got, I'll hook those to the PS5 whenever I get it. I'll just put everything on my 2 8 terabyte ones. Because right now I've got an 8, a 4, and a 4. And you know what? They're almost full. So never mind. I'll probably, disregard that. I'll need the 2 8s and maybe one other one. Wow, that's crazy, ain't it? But I think I only need one of those anyway for the PS5 because most of my PS4 games are, well, not most. Well, no, actually, I've still got all that shit in the cloud for PlayStation. I had, when I got rid of that 4, I had about 80 games on my hard drive. You know, between the free crap they give you and
Yep.
I actually bought quite a few uh, VR games. I just bought digitally for the PlayStation. Most of my actual straight up PS4 games are all the bangers anyway. I have all on disc. But you build up that other crap. They're always giving you shit to get you tie hooked to their ecosystem.
Right.
And people want to say, well, Xbox and Game Pass and Echoes and all that. Sony, believe it or not, they do it. I understand why people just stick with that and maybe have a Switch as their secondary. And they don't even have an Xbox because Sony actually did a pretty good job of giving you a bunch of crap and getting you locked in their ecosystem. Because I was hardcore Xbox that past gen. And yet, like I said, I had an 80, 100 games digitally on my, and I wasn't buying that much crap, just a lot. Well, a lot of the VR stuff again, and all the free crap. And then I had a ton. And then I've got about 20 games on disc that were the bangers that I've got. I'm looking at them right now. I'm at a distance, but I'm trying to count them. But I can already tell you it's about 20. They're just in one cube. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is embarrassing. I'm counting 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I got on the other side of them, instead of all of them standing up, I've got some of them laying down and then stack upward. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. I have 22 physical disc PS4 games. And then, but I had over 80, 90. I don't remember how many it was exactly. There was a lot, on that hard drive. And I still got that little hard drive. I just moved everything to it, got everything off my internal. And then I left a bunch of stuff that's just like there that I can put down onto my console whenever I buy a PS5, because I got rid of that PS4. I had the Pro, and I'm regretting that now because it's like I kept thinking like back last November, whenever the big Friday,
Black Friday.
yeah, that I'd be able to get a PS4 reduced, maybe get one for about $150. That didn't happen this year. You couldn't even get one for $180 this last year. They were full price. I'm like, what the fuck?
Probably because they're still selling because nobody can get the others.
I think because they knew they were going to have a shortage of PS5s. So they were like, well, we're not reducing these PS4s because we're going to sell them. People are going to want to buy something. That's the only thing I can think of, is because the year before, when that one Spider-Man dropped, I remember seeing 179 Spider-Man PS4s, $180. I'm like, I'd have gladly paid for that to have,
Yeah.
That was a pretty sweet deal. And it wasn't the Spider-Man. You got I know that one year they had 3 games, and it was 179 again, 179.99, and 3 games. I'm like, holy shit, that's a great deal. So I thought for sure, well, the PS5's coming. I'll trade my PS4 in on it, which I did. But then I guess that kind of just went to my Series X when I bought it. That's crazy. But that's how it ended up working out. I got $200 for the PS4 and $200 for the Xbox One X, and then I had, it's worked out pretty cool. Except I don't have a PS5 now. I sold that pre-order I had, and I just thought, well, whenever I walk into a store and they have one there, that's when I'll buy. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm not going to hunt around on the internet, and I'm not going to wait.
Yeah.
If somebody puts out 10 of them, they sell out in 3 seconds. I'm not going to be hitting refresh and worrying about all that. I've got my Xbox. I'm good to go. And then when I happen to be standing in a Walmart or a GameStop or a Target, and there's a PS5 for $500, I'm in. But I don't know anymore. I say that, and then the next day I'm thinking, I can spend that $500 on all this other stuff. And
Yeah, I know.
PS5 mid-gen, when they have a mid-gen reduced version, or whatever they call slims.
Yeah.
And pick it up then. So, but I don't know. I don't think I'll wait. I think I want to get one.
Well, for what it's worth, if when you do plug in your hard drive, it's like the Xbox. It just reads it and
Right.
you're done.
And
It's
then, like I said, I have games that will download immediately. That are just sitting there waiting on
yeah.
my PCN account. Uh, and then I'll lose all these months. So that'll by the time I buy one, I'm thinking I won't have any of my what is it Plus or whatever they.
Well, if you have Plus, you can download the app and you can set it up on the app. You can get them off the app, so you don't have to necessarily have the console
I
on
don't
to
know
do it.
which one I had the thing where you got free games every month.
Yeah, that's PS Plus.
Okay, I had PS Plus, but I don't know how many more months I had left on it.
Oh, I
So
see what you're saying now.
it
Yeah,
may
yeah,
be
yeah,
run
yeah.
out by the time I buy it. But I'll just get a card for another year and
Yeah, that's
I'll
that's
be good
fine.
to go. So
And it re-ups anything you had, like that's tied to the account.
yeah,
Um, you don't lose them. It'll just re-up it so you can
right.
play.
That's why I said I didn't move
Yeah,
everything to my hard drive. I left that hard drive full, but there was a lot of other stuff. But I'm like, well, that's okay. That game is still sitting there. As soon as I plug that PS5 in, that game is available. I can just download it to a hard drive.
right.
It's I already own it. Either they gave it to me or I purchased it or got it somehow. I don't know how, but like I said, I had like 80, 100 digital games by the end of the life cycle.
It's kind of crazy how you don't realize it, but over time they do add up. They really do.
Yeah. Well, I guess the 22 that I have on disc, those were sitting on there. So I won't, I have the disc for those. So those don't count. So if I'm saying 100, that means I really had about 80.
But still, that's yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So, but
it's
that's
still
still a lot. That's a lot of freebie type games that's cool. So yeah, like I said, I haven't spent that money yet. I've just been sitting on it, but oh, it's hard not to spend it. Let me tell you.
oh, I know it. I know it. Yeah. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'm just gonna have to wait for the
And I'm on a
Xbox for
fixed
me.
income now. I don't work anymore, and I don't have all the money like I used to. And it was pretty funny the other day. I'd make my son buy something, and I don't know, but we were talking about it, and I was like, well, I don't know how much money that I have because. And then I let it. I thought he already knew it. I guess he didn't know it. I let it slip that I had $500 that I've just been left sitting there. So what I have is anything over 500 is what I have available on any given month. That 500 is just that's locked in for PS5. He kind of shot me that dirty look like, wait a minute, you're asking me to buy such and such thing, and I'm like, yeah, you need. I had to buy it for you when you were little, so you're buying it for me now. But yeah, I'm not spending that 500 just in case. At some point I decide not to get the PS5, then I'll probably, if I'm not going to get it for a couple more years, then I'll spend it, but come up with the money later on. But right now, yeah, I know how I am. If I seen that in store, I want to have the money available.
The
And they
fact,
actually have PS5 games in store now. I mean, my local stores here, they only started getting maybe 2 weeks ago. I started seeing the first, or actually on the outer cover of the game that said PS5. And those things debuted in November. And it wasn't until the end of this February that the Walmarts and Targets in this area in East Tennessee actually had PS5 games in the store. They
wow,
didn't have any
because here
PS5 to sell.
it's
Walmart
complete.
never got any in store. I mean, they sold them through their website.
Right.
They
Well, I
never
know.
got any in store.
So here it's a little different. And I'm in Maine, by the way, so for those who don't know where I am. But here was different. Here, the accessories and the games were all available from day one. And I was talking to this one of the guys at Best Buy, and we were joking about it. Like, yeah, you can buy all the games and accessories, but where the hell are the systems? He's like, I can't believe how many games that because literally, like Spider-Man, for example, Miles Morales, they had like 20 of them. And I'm like, okay, are these even selling? And he's like, well, if we sell a system, but he's like, we
Well,
have
now
way
Best
more games
Buy,
than we are systems. It's like it's not just that; it's all of them. But it was
no, no,
just pretty funny.
Best Buy and GameStops had games that were marked PS5,
Yeah.
and Target had some of the accessories. but Walmart didn't have anything other than PS4 games.
The
Up
Walmart here
until
did carry the PS5, but not to the degree that Best Buy did. But then
hard,
again, it was easy to find because nobody buys the system. So why
yeah,
buy the
in
game if you can't get the
January,
system?
sometime early in January, the Targets got display PS5s. They didn't get no PS5s to sell, but they got hidden
Display,
behind glass.
yeah,
So, and it wasn't until I think the end of January that they actually started getting games that actually the case said PS5 on. And Walmart didn't get it till the end of February till they started. So they should be getting consoles pretty soon. I think some people keep wanting to make it out like it's worse than it really is. I think June is correct when both consoles will be readily available.
yeah.
I heard that months ago, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I always thought March, but now they're saying like June. And I'm like, okay, I get it, COVID and all that and shipping, and they'll but then the other day, or I started hearing things like, oh, it might be, 2022 before we. I'm like,
I
where's
don't know
that
about
coming
that.
from? I don't.
I
Yeah,
mean, there is a chip shortage. That much I know for both systems. But I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it could be wrong. We'll see. But I think you're right. I think June would be about right.
yeah. The chip shortage is Sony's fault because only 50% of those get thrown in the trash.
Well,
Now I'm sure they fixed that issue long ago.
yeah, but Microsoft's having the similar issue. So because you can't find a Series X either
Right,
anywhere.
but they're not having the issue of 50% of their chips being bad.
No, but
That was
they're still
very
having.
early in the productions of PlayStation when that was happening.
Right. But I mean, there's still a shortage. I think
Yeah,
of the CPU die.
yeah. The whole system on a chip, the CPU,
Yeah,
APU,
for both.
the crap they buy from AMD, they're not getting. That's who the shortage comes from is
Yeah,
AMD.
no, exactly. It's AMD. Yeah, no, right.
Yeah, the rest of all the other parts they're getting from everybody else, and they're just waiting on the AMD. Yeah, and they're the ones having the problem. Apparently, the plant in Singapore, I don't know, or one of their plants that used to isn't producing as much or something going on there. I don't know.
It's probably COVID. Blame COVID. When all else fails, blame
Yeah,
COVID. Oh well. Well, the
thank God
point is,
COVID's
it's
almost over.
yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's getting worse day in and day out with people not wearing masks and stuff. And you can't hardly bitch about it because I don't think nearly as many people is getting sick. And I know the nightly news still claims all these people are dying from it, but I'm not seeing
Well,
it. I'm
they're
not
starting
hearing it.
to. Even the news is starting to say, yeah, it looks like we finally maybe they're being very careful with their words, but maybe we're seeing an end to this because of the vaccines and all. I'm still waiting for the vaccine to become available in my area. I'm not going to get into this too much because this is a whole
And
other thing.
yeah,
But
that's not even go there because
yeah,
I'm old and I've been sick and I can't get the fucking vaccine. It's
yeah,
like, what? I should be first in line. And the VA told me, well, are you a 60 or above? That's all we're giving out now. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not 60 yet, but
yeah. But you have enough
and then
health.
it's not even the VA locally. I was going to have to drive 2 hours away to a bigger VA facility that was actually giving the shots, even though the place that I was going to had big giant COVID signs and testing and said for the vaccine. And I thought for sure they're giving it out there. They're like, no, you got to sign up and go to the other place. And I'm like, fuck y'all. That's why you got all
Yeah.
them signs out? You're just scaring people, and there's some BS behind that's mixed in with all that.
Anyway, but moving on to that. But
Yeah,
yeah, so hopefully, like you said, it'll be available soon enough in stores.
I got a good friend. She was vomiting and what was her other symptom? I don't even remember. But she got scheduled for a COVID test, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. But I'm like, it hurts. And I said, well, let's not say hurt. It makes you feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And I had to talk her down off the ledge, and I'm like, and guess what? Even if you fail, X amount of those tests come back positive, even though you're not going to get sick. And what you got now is not the symptoms for COVID. You don't got a fever. You're not coughing. You're not sneezing. I was like, do you have flu symptoms? No, you got stomach virus symptoms. It's totally
Yeah.
different. I'm like, I'm like, so even if you fail, you not doesn't mean you have it. People forget. They think COVID's it's some weird disease that's all on its own. It's the flu. It might be a super flu or whatever you want to term you want to use. But yeah, anyway, we need to stop talking about that. We can
Yeah,
go
it's
another two
okay.
hours.
I know. We get into a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah. Anyway, we're hitting 2 hours anyway. So
Yeah.
what else? Anything else you want to talk about before we get off here?
Uh, well, I just well, we spoke about the state of play. We briefed on the Nintendo one, which was pretty much the same disappointment in my eyes, anyway. Um, Not much that I have on my side. I mean, that's new that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah,
Um,
we hit the whole RDNA thing and then
yeah,
that other stuff. So we're pretty good. Oh, movies. I don't even want to talk about this, but you got to throw it out there. They're talking about the next Superman movies. They're going to make it a black Superman.
yeah, they do another reboot. Yeah,
And you know what? I fucking hate J.J. Abrams anyway. So good. I hope he does. Yeah, he killed a couple of beloved franchises already, and I don't think this will kill Superman. By the way, but it's not. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think there's ways it can be done, and it'll be fine. I mean, Superman's alien, so if he's black, what does it matter? I don't care. Uh, so that there's that. I don't know how many people feel like I do. Uh, I know the guy attached to writing it is a racist, even though he's a black guy. He's horrible. He actually, on interviews, has claimed to have been happy when 9/11 happened, and he
uh,
claimed he was in New York and seen the firefighters and police that was charging the twin towers to their heading to their death, and he was happy about it. And I can't believe Marvel would hire him because he's did that on film. That can't. It's not going to go away. That's out there. He said it. So if Gina Carano can get fired for saying that Republicans are as scarce as Nazis or Jews in a Nazi, I don't know, whatever she said, she was trying to be funny and it got her fired. There's no fucking way they're going to hire this guy to write. But I don't know.
yeah, no.
I hope they don't hire him. But if they get the right writer and you get a great story, I'd be honest, I wouldn't care. It's but I sparked a debate with a friend of mine and was like, well, I asked him how would he feel if they do a movie and a white guy plays the character of Martin Luther King. And he was flipping out about it. And I'm like, well, if you're pushing for white characters to get portrayed by black, what happens when it goes the other way? Sooner or later, it could happen. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we're talking
thing.
about a fictitious character versus a real life figure.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
I
understand.
know, I know exactly, and that was his point. He's like, "Well, you can't." And I'm like, "All right, well, whatever." There's fictional black characters too that could end up getting portrayed by white people. Uh, but I think with Superman, I might not mind as much. I don't know. I still don't care for Miles Morales. I think that could have been handled better. Uh, they never handled it very good, and I mean, it is what it is. They wanted the whole point was we don't have any diversity. We need a character, but no, if we create one from scratch, nobody will read it. Nobody will care. So we're going to take a beloved character and do this. And comics have always done stuff like that. And if it worked, it was great. If it didn't work, they went back to the original one and nobody cared because it was comics. But now it's different because of movies and television and things. Yeah, I've just never cared for that one.
I did like the Spider-Man, the animated one that they
Yeah, Into the
released.
Spider Verse.
Yeah, that
I
was actually
liked it.
pretty
I
good.
like the animation style and all that, but I thought it was very anti-white the way they portrayed Peter Parker as a fucking loser. I mean, he
I
got
didn't.
broken because his wife died. This is the guy that held Gwen Stacy below the Brooklyn Bridge, dead in his arms. That didn't break him, and he went on for that was pretty early in the lifespan of the comics. And yet in
Well,
this Spider
the
Verse
reason
thing, they made him a fucking
I
loser, and it was
I get it, but at the same time, there was so many different dimensions that they're just one of many. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
they did show one of a white Spider-Man that was still a hero and heroic. They showed him a loser, fat gut, beard, whatever. It was horrible. I was like, I didn't care for that part of it. I like you didn't need to go that far to prop up Miles to make the Peter Parker people loved shitty. You could have just first of all, you didn't need to have any of those Spider-Mans. Why don't you just make a fucking Miles Morales movie? I would have been more than happy for that. Uh, I don't
well,
know.
I liked it for what it was. I mean, I had no problem with it.
No,
Just
I actually enjoyed it. I love the animation. I thought they did a great job. Sony dumped some money in that puppy, and those directors they're known for good stuff. So it was like, yeah,
yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it. I just thought, yeah, you don't need to knock one character down to prop another one up. Just, they can both be fine, or not have that one at all. So, but yeah, whatever. I don't know.
so also coming soon, which I don't know how you feel about the series, but I'm looking forward to apprehensively to Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Cool.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I even love the original. I've got a copy of it on a
yeah,
bootleg burnt DVD. Uh, yeah. Now I worry about. I won't. I I don't know. They're keeping it a secret on who wins, and will they have the balls to let one of them win? Do they have to be politically correct? It's a. I mean, Godzilla's the more popular character because they've been 300 Godzilla movies.
right.
Even though there were no budget movies and most of them were garbage, but they were fun. You know, I love them, but yeah, they wasn't at the level. I mean, King Kong was 19, what, 32,
Yeah,
32, somewhere
way
in there.
back. Yep.
Yeah, it was. It came out in that same time frame as the original Dracula and the original Frankenstein. Um, but it was so far ahead of anything done over the next 50 years after it, as far as using stop motion. It wasn't until the late 60s into the 70s that Harryhausen did some stop motion that was on a level of what they did in King Kong. But anyway, yeah, I I don't care what they do. I'm happy either way. I mean, Godzilla wins. I love Godzilla in those movies, so I'd be fine. I just don't want them to make it. I don't want them to wimp out at being a tie. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
agree.
clear in Freddy versus Jason. Uh, Jason won.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was pretty clear anyway. I've had some people argue with that on Twitter. That I'm like, no, you go watch it again. Damn it! I mean, it was Jason wins. Is Freddy still around? Yeah, those characters never die. He's just back in hell. He'll come out in another movie.
Right.
But it's that for that movie, they let Jason win. Barely, but he won. Uh, I don't know. I'd like to see some more of those. I'd like to see Jason versus Michael
It was
and
supposed, didn't you? I was you
all
told
three
me
of
there
them.
was supposed to be a whole bunch, but they couldn't.
Yeah,
The rights just fell
giving
apart.
people rights, but I think all of them are now under the same. Yeah,
That'd be kind of. That would be
for a
so
while there
sick.
was a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I was never big on that because Ash is a good guy character
Yeah, that doesn't.
that didn't need to be going up against Freddy and Jason and Michael and those characters. But yeah, here's what's pissing me off is some of these streaming channels, CBS All Access. I mean, was horrible. Went down in flames. Could not get any kind of subscriber base. They had the one Star Trek Discovery show that was, fueling it, and then they put Picard on it also. But it's nothing else. Honestly, just nothing else but old CBS shows, and then those two shows, and they couldn't get any audience. And so they rebrand it, and then they snatch up fucking Halo. What the
Mm,
fuck? I don't like that because now it's on. They're calling it Paramount Plus instead of CBS All Access. It is CBS All Access. If you were on CBS All Access, your subscription is, if it hasn't
Paramount
already
Plus.
happened,
Yeah.
it's gonna turn into Paramount Plus. Okay, you don't. Simple as that. If you had another 8 months, guaranteed it'll start showing up as Paramount Plus. And when you renew, it'll be under Paramount Plus, not CBS All Access is on its deathbed. At least it's not going away completely. Yeah, but I don't know how in the hell Halo ended up there. Showtime was making it, and I know Showtime somehow has some kind of connection to CBS and well, not so much CBS and Paramount, but the big distributor that does old TV shows all over the world. Somehow Showtime's involved with them. I don't know. Because, HBO went with Time Warner. So Showtime aligned with Paramount, which is CBS. And I keep forgetting the distributor name. But they're the ones that, show old shows on television and had package deals all over the world. But it failed with CBS All Access. Now, if I want to get to watch Halo, I'm going to have to get another damn channel. And that just pisses me off.
I hate that. Yeah, it's like it's getting to the point where you have to have so many subscriptions at this point where it's getting more expensive than just having a cable box.
Myself under control, because when I had some issues with Amazon, and I've talked on here before, I got rid of Amazon Prime, which I still kind of want, but I just don't want to give Amazon any money right now for it. But I had Netflix, and I've had it forever. And then I get the Disney package, the Disney Plus. It gives me Hulu, which I watch. Surprisingly enough, I watch a fuck ton of Hulu now. Even though there's commercials in that crap, I just said screw it. I grew up watching commercials. It ain't gonna kill me. I can't. Everything can't just be Netflix and Amazon Prime without them. So I'm watching a lot of stuff on Hulu, and then I hardly ever watch the ESPN Plus that comes with it. Though I'll be honest, I don't watch a whole lot of that. But I get that free because of my phone package. Oddly enough, with Verizon,
that's how I do it. Yeah,
I get that free.
T-Mobile now, so it was Sprint. Now it's T-Mobile. Gives it free as well.
It's not even like free for a year. It's free forever.
Yeah.
As long as I'm on Verizon, I'm getting Disney free. So that's cool. I don't got to pay for that. Now, I added HBO Max because I know the Justice League Snyder Cut was coming. And then when I started seeing the stuff for that Denzel Washington movie, which was really good. It was a 7 wannabe. Not nearly as good as 7, of course, but it was still a really good movie. The Little Things is what it's called.
Yep.
And I just said, you know what? I'm not even going to wait. I'll just go ahead and get it now. And then I'll watch whatever's on it. And there's quite a bit on there. So I was like happy with that purchase for now anyway. Although no discount on it. I'm paying $15 a month. Holy fuck.
Yeah, but what's kind of cool is that they're releasing it the same day they do theaters, like King Kong versus Godzilla. So that's awesome.
I knew I was going to get Snyder Cut day one. I'm getting King Kong day one.
Yep.
And a bunch of other movies. Now, next year, if they go away from that, I'll get rid of them. I'm not big on movie theaters at my age now anyway. I'm not very tolerant of people making noise and having their cell phones on in the theater. I joked about that on Boom Show the other day. I'm an old guy. Hey, get off my lawn. Turn your fucking cell phone off, you asshole. And you can't do that. You can't be that person. Plus, I'm too old to get in a fight now anyway, this stage of life. So even before the virus and all this kicked in, I had pretty much stopped going to the movie theater. There was never a conscious decision. I'm not going to movies anymore. I just had noticed I wasn't doing it anymore because I was paying for various streaming channels anyway. And it's like, well, if I'm paying for this, I'm not going to go waste $20, $30 at a movie theater. So,
to be honest, with the TVs being what they are today and the sound systems being what they are today, you're just better off at home. Just pop your own popcorn.
Color set in one room. I got a 70-inch with a full-up home theater sound system in the living room.
You're set.
Just don't need to go to the movie theater, and I love getting day and date, not having to wait the extra 8 weeks or whatever it used to be. So
plus, you can still pause it. If you have to go to the bathroom and then continue it. Yeah, no, it's much better.
Yeah, and it was pretty. It's pretty cool. So I'm loving, and I'm paying for that. That's why they hooked me, and there's a lot on there. So I'm not complaining. There's enough variety, and like I said, and I love getting that Hulu with my Disney. I'm getting all these Disney shows now, and then for old television, I'll binge watch stuff that's not even that good if it's something that I find mildly entertaining. I'm now binge watching It's like one of a two chick cop show, not Cagney and Lacey. That's way back. Rizzoli and Isles. That was on.
That's a good one. That's a
It's
good one.
very enjoyable, and I'd seen a lot of them on TNT back in the day. They used to, binge play it. As much as
Right.
they could. They'd do 3 episodes.
I love the interaction between the characters. They're awesome.
Yeah, so I went back and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to binge watch because the nice thing about that show, that was one of the early U.S. cable channels that started doing. We're just going to do 15 episodes. We don't need 22 or 25. So I like that. So there's, even though it ran, I think 7 years, it's not 3,000 episodes that I got to worry about trying to binge. It's a respectable number. And a lot of old British shows and things I'll binge watch, and so that's the only thing that stuff's good for. Although there's
Downtown Abbey.
commercials
No, I'm
on
kidding.
it, so I hate commercials, but it's like it's free, so get over it. It's not a big deal. And I still have Netflix completely commercial free, and I have HBO Max for completely commercial free. So if I got to watch some on Tubi or Hulu, I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think for movie news, that's about the only big thing is that they, JJ may screw up Superman. Who knows? I just think Henry Cavill should have gotten at least one more movie.
I thought he was great. I liked him a lot.
Yeah. And I know, I guess he's known as a hothead in Hollywood or whatever. And I don't know what he's like on the sets, and I don't care. You know what? He's just good as Superman. They need to keep him. He needs, and hopefully, before anything's, and I know all these Snyder's guys that are in the Snyder's cut, they're not going to do a Batman with Ben again. Okay, he was alcoholic, and they were afraid to do another movie with him. So it's great that they're getting this Justice League cut done, and maybe the same for Henry Cavill. Maybe he was a problem on set or something, and he's not going to get another Superman movie. But there will be another Wonder Woman movie with her. There will be another Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, well, if you're doing those, and why you got to change Superman? You had a great one. That's my problem with it is if you'd have had a shitty Superman, and I hate to say it because I like that dude from the other reboot of Superman. He's on one of those CW shows. I think it's already off now, but it was on for like 5 years or something. He played a completely different character, but
Palmer.
Yeah,
Ant-Man, I think it was.
Yeah, he's
Adam.
Adam.
Adam. The Adam. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he also played Superman on one of their team up things, the one show a year without. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, his movie's definitely not as good than Zack Snyder made almost a perfect Superman movie. I know some of the people hate it because he killed Zod, and they're like, "Oh, Superman can't kill." And I'm like, "Wow, you hate this movie, and that's your one real critique." I'm like, "Dude, rewatch the movie; it's great." And I actually like Batman v Superman.
So did I. I like them both.
Yeah, and when they did the director's cut of it, I loved it. I thought, and then they filled in some things that it made everything click. Now, Justice League definitely did have problems. I did not like it. I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, railing against it and stuff, but I realized that there was some definite, and now he's fixing all that, and we're going to get his vision, and I think it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till it comes out on that 4K disc of the 4-hour, Justice League cut. But I have HBO Max, so I get to watch it day and date. And then I'll go buy the disc later to support Zack Snyder because I just like his work. He's kind of controversial, though. He does change things. I guess I see why some people, dislike what he does, but I don't know. I loved it when he remade Dawn of the Dead. I thought his remake was awesome. And the one anime movie he made with the girls, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That one was very controversial because of the costumes they wear, and he was sexist and all. I'm like, these are empowered women becoming empowered, and that's what the anime was. He just, wow. I'm like, get over it. Baby doll. No, it wasn't Baby doll.
No, I was gonna say it wasn't that.
Something or something dolls. I don't know what it is. I
Oh, God,
have
I
a
can't think of it either.
copy. I even have a copy of it. It's great, but it got shit on, and some of it I don't understand to this day either. By the way, I have watched it multiple times, and it is one of those that by the third act, I'm like kind of scratching my head, going, "Yeah, I'm too dumb for this." I don't really get what he was doing, but it was beautiful to watch. I mean, it's beautifully filmed, and thank God he's got another zombie movie coming out that's going to be dropping it in theaters and video mostly probably. I don't even know what it's called. It's not out yet, but I think it's in post now. But because of the COVID stuff, I don't know when he'll finish it and they'll get it out. But it's some kind of fairly big budget zombie movie that he got after he was flushed from Justice League. I think they realized they're like,
Yeah.
no, we know we screwed you over, so here, make this movie. And then the whole Snyder cut of Justice League, they were not going to give him that. That was AT&T.
Still, I'm curious how that'll be.
Well, I
I mean, the
think
whole reason he had to.
AT&T thinks it's big enough that it's going to draw viewers
True.
in the same kind of numbers that the Mandalorian did for Disney. But here's the thing: people don't understand. They're talking about, oh, Disney's up to 80 million subscribers or something. I don't know, but nobody pays for Disney. And if they are, they're lying. They're saying they are. Everybody gets it free. I can't find anybody that pays for it. Now, eventually, you're going to have to pay for it. And maybe we are paying for it through our phone things. I don't know how much Verizon, or in your case, T-Mobile or whoever, pays to Disney, back to Disney. I don't know how all that works. I don't care. I just know I'm not paying for it. And I'm pretty sure most people aren't. They're artificially pumping up those numbers. But sometimes that's what you got to do to get something successful. Give it away like candy. It's a drug, It's kind of that whole drug dealers thing. We'll go give it to them for free, and then they'll come crawling back begging us for more, and they'll pay. And I know that's kind of the way I am with the Mandalorian. Holy shit! I'm really pissed off about them firing Gina. Yeah, that was some BS. And I don't know if they're going to ever back down off of that decision, though. Who knows? I mean, they did when they fired what's his name that did uh, the big ones for Marvel, the two Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. That guy
Oh yes.
got
Oh
fired for his tweets
yeah.
when he was in his early 20s, and then when he's in his late 30s, it comes out that some of them were tasteless, but they wasn't. I don't think they were bad, but yeah, they were pretty tasteless. Not you shouldn't be fired over that. And I've read her tweets, and I thought they were okay. I thought they were just her trying to be funny, and they wasn't. They really wasn't. Comparing the scarcity of Republicans, like,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's the truth. It's not just Republicans. Trump supporters is what she was talking about. They're being treated like criminals now, or whatever, or anybody that was pro-Trump is an evil, bad person, and blah blah blah, and all that. And it's like, really, you got to go that far? He lost. He's gone. They tried to impeach him after he was no longer president. You know how much money they fucking wasted? Nobody
Yeah.
ever talks about that. It's like, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I never voted either election. I don't give a shit. So I'm not getting any political on that. If you hate him, that's fine. You're allowed to hate him, but show some respect. He was president, and that's what used to piss me off. Even if he's the buffoon, he was still the president of the United States. He should have gotten a certain amount of respect for that. And the press and the Democratic Party didn't. And I always thought that was kind of garbage. Nobody did that to Obama when he was president. He got showed the respect he deserved as president. He was commander in chief. Nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should have been. And no matter how much you dislike Trump, and I know there's sometimes I read some of his quotes that made me cringe. Just like, God, did he really say that? And then it was like, oh fuck, yeah, there's a clip of him really saying that. It came out of his mouth. Holy shit, he can't say that. He's the president of the United States. You can't say that. And yet he did. I know he did. I get it. But I'm just saying he's still, as president of the United States, still. I'm ex-military, so like the president should, commander in chief should be given a certain amount of respect. Period. And buffoon or not, he should have been treated a little better. If you don't like him, don't vote for him. And that's what happened. He was voted out of office. That's fine. He's gone. Don't
Right.
waste $400,000 or $500,000 trying to impeach the guy that's no longer president. What the? I don't even get. Do you get that? He was no longer president. Biden had already been signed in and was officially.
I don't. I don't.
And every day there was coverage of Trump being impeached. How can you? First of all, how can you impeach somebody that's no longer president? That'd be like, let's impeach Nixon now. God damn it, Nixon pissed me off. Let's. It's crazy. I'm like, well, he's out. I got it where you tried to impeach him late right before the election because you wanted him to lose. So they did do that. I thought that was bullshit politics, but that's still business as usual. I understood it, and it was okay. Hey, they want to make sure that their candidate wins, so they're going to throw as much crap on Trump as they. And I don't think they need to do anything. I think Trump derailed his own self with all the crazy shit he would say and do. But again, after the fact, though, they wasted all that money for nothing, and then they still didn't even get him impeached. They still did not get him impeached. That's what was funny. Is they lost. It was like, wait a minute, you're gonna waste all that money and you don't even fucking get it done. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm glad I'm not into politics. And I talked earlier about us not talking politics and there I go. It is everything but the kitchen sink. Holy crap. But I think we're kind of like friends and we like talking, so we do our podcast. It's cool.
Yeah, true. And people don't need to agree or they can't agree, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all.
Yeah,
it's
that's just fine. Like I
gravy.
said, but I shouldn't have been talking any politics stuff. That was just silly.
Yeah.
But, we went from talking about Black Superman to them trying to impeach Trump. That's really everything but the kitchen sink.
We even spoke about the kitchen sink in the beginning. So yeah, we got that too.
But anyway, let's get off here. It's been a while. We're at 2.5 hours now, so I don't want to do a full 3-hour show. But it's great. We missed last week, so I think that's why it took a little longer this week.
Oh yeah.
We had to go back and talk about some stuff that we missed that week before. And and that happens. There's going to be weeks, life. We're not hard set that we got to do this every single week. It's like if we do, great. And then there's nights, well, we can't do it. And I don't want to do it Sunday morning, or I don't want to do it the day before. I'm fine just doing it on Saturday nights, and if we can't, then we don't. Ain't no big deal. I'm not trying to get some kind of big YouTube audience, and I don't want anybody to ever pay for super chats and crap like that. I'm not choosing that stuff. And
it's good the casual way we do it. It's just, I mean,
two guys talking about gaming and pop culture, movies, music. We got to talk about music. Actually, we seem to never talk about music. We'll do that next week or the week after.
Yeah, that would be that's true.
I'm a big vinyl guy and retro. I love retro and not necessarily just the music, because I don't care if something come out in the 60s or yesterday. It doesn't matter. The quality's, as long as it's quality recording, blah, blah, blah. And it's the style of music I like. But I love like retro speakers. I've got some classic speakers and receivers and things. So we can talk about that next week.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I have a couple of things I could talk about that as well. So cool.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking for a cheap. I know when you say the word cheap, it's hard to get, but a reasonably priced reel to reel, as well as even a decent cassette deck. And
those are hard to find.
I kind of want Marantz because I got a Marantz receiver. But anyway, we'll talk about all that on another show.
Yeah, that's definitely so.
Yeah, because that'll
be here another hour.
20, 30 minutes easy. All right. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, Gray with an E, Grey, Wolfgamer1. And feel free to, message me, friend me, whatever. I'm pretty open.
Yeah, I'm back on Mads. Next Gen Podcast. It's a weekly show. I think Thursdays when we're doing it. We skipped this last Thursday. He had some kind of personal issue, uh, so we just skipped that week. But we'll be back this coming week. It's in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, because most of the guys are all in Europe. Jamie Moran's on it, Mads, and there's a couple other guys in Europe. There's a couple guys from the States that are part of an ongoing, and that way he always has at least 3 people or more. I think there's about 5 or 6 of us total. So that's kind of cool. So he always has at least 3 people when we do it. And then I ended up on Mr. Boomstick's podcast the other day. You never know. I can pop up on anybody's show at any given time. Sometimes I tell them I don't want to be a regular member. I do my own kind of thing, and I'm a regular member on Mads' show. But if you need somebody, let me know. I'm available, and DM me. And if I'm not doing anything, I'll be on your show. So I kind of get every once in a while somebody's like desperate enough to want me to be on there. It's kind of cool. But yeah, and then Twitter, Mojo_Blues1. I spend way too much time on Twitter, dude.
Mix two of us.
It's bad. I'll be watching a show, and all of a sudden I'll realize I haven't paid attention to anything in the last 40 minutes. I've got to restart this because I was sitting there playing with Twitter. I've got to turn my phone and set it, And here's what's bad. I'm watching Hulu and a commercial break comes on. The first thing I do is reach for that fucking phone. Yeah, good job. But anyway, we had a few viewers tonight, so this will probably end up being about 15 in a week from now, which is cool. I've been looking at their numbers. They're bad. I'm not going to lie. But we end up 10 or 15 every week, so that's something. But and live, we had as many as 3. And for about half the show, there was 2. And now we're back down to 0. And when we started, it was at 0. So, but still, there's some people popping in. And we get some people after the fact. Like I said, you can look on my YouTube page and there's 10, 15 viewers almost the last 5 or 6 shows we've did. And then there was oddly, there was one that had 100 viewers. I think that was that show where, what's his name?
X-Spot?
Yeah, when he popped in, I think we had 100 some viewers.
Yeah.
I guess that was because he was on there. I don't know. And I'm not even sure if that's the show. I'd have to go back and look now. Not last week, but the week before that particular show started, I looked at some of the numbers and I'm like, oh crap, we are getting a few people at least. So let's keep right on doing it, man. I enjoy it. So, and you never know. One of us could say something one day and then it blow up and then we might start getting hundreds of viewers. It's strange on why one thing's popular, what makes one show. And I watch a lot of podcasts, and I'm telling you, our show is every bit as good as plenty of those. So I don't know, what drives people to a particular show on a particular night. But
couldn't tell you. I don't know either. Well, I guess we just do what we do, and whoever follows. I guess that's just the way it goes.
That's the other thing. I have pretty substantial on Twitter, but I don't have that. I only have 50 followers on YouTube. I guess I should push to get more people on my channel so they would get notified and maybe we'd get more people watching the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I hadn't cared about YouTube, my own YouTube channel, and I'm not doing my own videos. That's the other thing. That's something I want to do. I had planned to do, and then I got real bad sick, and I just didn't do it. But now, see, I say that, and then I got heart surgery probably mid-March. I'm looking at having bypass surgery, so I don't know how long that's going to knock me out of doing stuff, or maybe not long at all. Maybe I only miss one show. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. When I was in the hospital last time, I actually did my show with Mads from the hospital. I had my little Surface Pro with me, and it worked great. I just did the show right from there, so maybe I can do the same thing this time. And I don't have a set date yet anyway. I'm waiting for a couple of other things that I got to get done. I got to have my teeth cleaned and things before they'll do the heart surgery. And
sure.
And I go next Tuesday, I think, because my surgeon went on an extended leave type thing. I don't know what's going on. They called me the other day and said, yeah, you're canceling his appointment. Now you're seeing his partner and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. So I'm going to go see this guy. And then by then, I guess Monday or Tuesday they did a referral for dental through the same University of Tennessee. It'll be through their dental surgeon, but I've not heard back from them. They supposedly put it in the system that I have a referral. But nobody's called and got an appointment, so I think I'm just going to start calling some people on my own.
Yeah, best not leave it to chance.
Yeah, because they won't do the surgery till I get that done. And so anyway, let's get off here. I shouldn't be talking about my personal medical shit on a podcast. That's kind of weird anyway.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, yeah. So thank you everyone for listening, and we appreciate it. And like I said, feel free to drop us a line if you want to talk.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I should start hitting up some people. That's the one thing that I don't do anymore is I'm not like specifically DMing them saying, "Hey, show up on the show. Do you want to be on it?" I just kind of I think because it's Saturday night, there's just a lot of people, and my snowball mic keeps falling right now. I'm messing with it as I'm talking. I don't know what it is, but I'm when we first started this show. Uh, yeah, I couldn't get anybody, except you. There was several people said they wanted to, but then they never did. And then, well, one other guy did. He was on a couple episodes, and he popped in on that one with Xbot 448.
Yeah, Skin Eastwood.
Yeah, he's been on a few shows, but I don't send him the link anymore. Maybe I should be sending him that link, and then he might, occasionally show up.
I know it's tricky for him because he's in Europe, and it's way late for him. I mean, if he could do it, awesome. But I know that's the time differential is a thing.
I'll probably DM some people, maybe get on a couple of the other people's podcasts, and then toot our horn, and maybe we can finally get a few more people on here. I don't want to get bigger or anything. Like I said, I don't want to ever get to the point where people don't want to do super chats. But something else we can talk about. I want to bitch about next week. We won't not just the retro and stereo stuff, but is super tweets. They want people to start paying for that. Have you heard that or read about that?
Yeah,
that's horrible. What the fuck? And here's what scares me. There are people that are crazy enough that they'll pay. They will. I mean, there's all the people that pay super chats on YouTube. I just won't do it, and I've never done it. I don't care.
Yeah, screw that.
I don't need my chat read over the air. Sometimes I'm in the chat because I like, and you get to know people down in the chat, which is really weird. I have a bunch of people that I consider really good people that I see on the same shows down in the chat. I'll say hi to them, and then usually I just shut the chat off anyway. I watch the podcast, but I don't have the chat up. So, and I'm not paying no super chat. I don't. Hey, if people want to do that, it's their money. I don't care. I'm just saying I'm not paying money to get something read that I've said. It's like, yeah, you know what? You can do your own podcast for free and say whatever,
Right.
And I kind of do that. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Honestly, if people want to follow me on Twitter, you're free to do so. I'm not going to pay for it, and you don't have to pay for it to see me. So,
but I think some of those, there are professional Twitter people that put memes and stuff, and they a lot of them do have like big followings. And
that's fine for them, but
yeah, but now they're going to have part of their audience is paying to get certain things, and I can see them doing that. And I can see that becoming, I don't want to say the next big thing, but I could see it getting at least as popular as super chats on YouTube. I could see this becoming a thing on Twitter, and it's like, God, that's awful, but that's coming. All right, anyway, let's get off here, man. I'm going to end the broadcast because, we're getting closing in on 3 hours, so we don't want to go there. All right, everybody. Thanks for
thank you
tuning in and or watching later, and see you next week.
Yeah, take care.